Earth football, Cristiano Ronaldo thought I would go assist him. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction. So please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story in all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter. And if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 151 adds a triple crown. Iniesta had already scored a game-winning goal against Portugal once in this match. This time bang! Deng Kai slid in for a shot. Iniesta fell to the ground. The ball was deflected by Deng Kai, failing to create a shot on goal. The referee blew his whistle and showed Deng Kai a red card. This was the third red card of the match. This time, there was no further conflict between the players. With Deng Kai already on red, what could Spain possibly fight for? Similarly, with both players on red, Portugal had little to fight for. After all, Deng Kai already had a yellow card. In the face of tension, the sadness was overshadowed. Form the wall. Iniesta is equally adept with both feet, but in this position, he can only shoot directly with his right foot. Deng Kai instructed as he walked. Find the tallest player to form the wall. Ronaldo, you go too, jump with all your might. If I could, I'd gladly sacrifice your face, second only to mine in football prowess, to block this shot. Of course, if I were you, I'd open my eyes, because that would allow us to see the direction of the ball. Ronaldo's initial sadness instantly turned into fear. Damn it. He didn't want to form the wall. Especially after Font's spectacular performance, suffering a concussion from Iniesta's attack. Who would dare try that again? Quaresma, lie down, prevent them from using low shots. Deng Kai also instructed Quaresma. No one in the team dared to order Quaresma without his permission. Quaresma nodded. Then, Deng Kai walked towards the players' tunnel, where he and Beckham, who had been hiding in the shadows, watched the goal. Portugal's wall was already in place. Ronaldo stood on the outermost edge. Iniesta stood before the ball, taking deep breaths. A whistle blew. Iniesta took a run up. Right foot lifted. Shot. The ball soared into the sky. A perfect arc, it should have circled the wall. It was a truly spectacular free kick. But, bang! The ball struck Ronaldo in the face. It flew out of bounds. Ronaldo landed and collapsed onto the pitch, a deafening roar filling his ears, his vision going completely white. For him, only a moment had passed. But in reality, he lay on the ground for over a minute. The Portuguese players were nearly paralyzed with fear. Iniesta, the instigator, was also incredibly anxious, for the first time disregarding the outcome of the match. He really didn't want to be the murderer. In the slow-motion replay, everything was crystal clear. The instant the Portuguese wall jumped, almost everyone instinctively closed their eyes. Only Ronaldo. His eyes blinked slightly. Then he seemed to remember something, struggling against his eyelids, and then saw the ball about to fly over his head. He tilted his head to the left, narrowly blocking the ball. Then blood gushed from his nose. His left eye quickly turned red and swollen. But after regaining consciousness, Ronaldo quickly completed a concussion test. He was fine. He could continue playing. And as Arteta's corner kick was headed out of the penalty area by Angelo, the referee blew his whistle. The match ended. Deng Kai and Beckham rushed out of the players' tunnel. They and the substitutes rushed towards the players on the field, everyone hugging each other, tears streaming down their faces. Quaresma was already a professional star. He thought he wouldn't be moved by a match of this level, the European U16 Championship. But when they stood on the top of Europe, he still cried. He knew that this championship would become a very important part of his memory. Not only because of the weight of the championship itself, but also because of his teammates on this team. The Spanish U16 players on the sidelines all hung their heads. Although they had this ominous feeling from the moment Deng Kai scored the winning goal. But when reality hit, they still felt the pain, still couldn't accept it. It all felt like a dream. Champions. Portugal is the champion. They are the strongest national team in this age group. Every single one of them is amazing. They defeated the powerful Spanish team. They conquered the evil possession-based tactics. This spirit of winning against the odds, this tenacious spirit, is the best inspiration for Portugal. If the Portuguese national team, currently second in the European Championship qualifiers, can learn from the spirit of Portugal U16 and stabilize their performance, then they will undoubtedly qualify for next year's European Championship finals. Portugal U16 has made a great start to the European Championship. Let's congratulate them. Let's congratulate Deng Kai, Ronaldo, Quaresma. The stadium erupted. Deng Kai scored twice, receiving a red and a yellow, and was named man of the match. He went to the media area for an interview. Behind him, UEFA was setting up the podium. Compared to the fledgling UEFA Youth League, the UEFA U16 Championship has a much greater influence. Reporter: Deng Kai, you've won the championship. Is there anything you'd like to say? Deng Kai: there's so much to say. Thank you to my teammates, coaches, and every staff member in the team. Thank you to our fans. Thank you to everyone who has always supported us. Thank you to Hathaway. Thank you to Princess Diaries. Thank you to Record. Thank you to Sports Weekly. Thank you to my Chinese fans who support me from thousands of miles away. Reporter: you scored an incredible winning goal. It's hard not to think of the recently concluded Champions League final. Under your guidance, Manchester United scored 2 goals in 1 minute, defeating Bayern Munich. And now, you scored 2 goals in 3 minutes, excluding the time it took for the opposing goalkeeper Reina to be substituted. Both of your goals were also scored within 1 minute. Does this mean some kind of fate? Deng Kai shook his head. It can't be called fate. I just put into practice what I taught Beckham, Solskjaer, and sharing him on the sidelines. The reporters were dumbfounded. This act was so convincing. Haha, that's just a joke, of course, Deng Kai added. Manchester United, Ronaldo, and I have always been mutually motivating. The treble was initially just a simple prediction, but after being amplified by the media, and repeated so many times, it might have become the truth. That's the power of belief. Previously, I said Sporting Lisbon U15 and Manchester United were the 2 strongest teams this year, and the reason we have 1 less title than the treble winners is simply because we participated in 1 less competition than Manchester United. Many people said I was bragging, but now I've made up for it. I wouldn't dare say the UEFA U15 Championship is as prestigious as the European Championship, but for players our age, it's more than enough to compete with a fuck-up. Let Manchester United take advantage and force a showdown with Sporting Lisbon U15 and Portugal U16. Chapter 152 Deng Kai Museum. For some reason, Cristiano Ronaldo sneezed in the distance. He seemed to have heard some unpleasant words. Forced what? Reporter: you received a red card and a yellow card in the match. Do you consider your behavior respectable? Deng Kai glanced at the newspaper, Daily Sports. No wonder it's Barcelona's mouthpiece. It's obviously defending Iniesta. Deng Kai flashed his white teeth. How can it not count? Red and yellow cards certainly mean there was a foul, but I never played football with the intention of injuring anyone. I believe everyone can see that Iniesta wasn't truly injured. I prevented a potential goal, so I got a red card. In comparison, my red card should be much more swift than Galbi's. The Daily Sports reporter, failing with his first attempt, tried another. What about Bisingwa? What about his red card? Should his flying kick on Gabi be judged? Deng Kai clearly disagreed. Judge what? How should it be judged? I believe many people can understand Bisingwa's anger, but understanding doesn't mean it should exist, so he got a red card. Problems on the field are resolved on the field. Why do we need to judge them afterwards? Am I still holding on to Gabi's red card? The reporters were full of questions. You're not holding on to Gabi's red card, are you? Seeing that the Spanish media was going too far, Zhang Yunzhu took the initiative to help Deng Kai out of the predicament and asked some questions that everyone wanted to hear. Deng Kai began praising his teammates one by one. Postiga is an excellent center forward. He can execute any tactic the coach sets up. He has extremely high versatility and potential. When a superstar like Quaresma is willing to lie on the grass to block free kicks, it's not unacceptable that his team can win the championship. Meireles is definitely the most underrated midfielder in this European U16 championship. In my opinion, his talent is in no way inferior to Iniesta, but he is willing to quietly dedicate himself to the defensive midfield position because of his versatility. I hope that future players who buy Meireles will see this in him. He deserves the treatment of a midfield core in any team. Font is always the team's most reliable defender. His defensive ability is significantly higher than that of other center backs in this tournament. He is also very brave. I wish him a speedy recovery and that he will be back in the first team squad soon. Veloso only learned yesterday that his father had transferred from Benfica to Porto. But he was able to perform brilliantly in this match without being affected. His performance is enough to convince people that his father made the right choice by transferring for him. I told Veloso yesterday that I hope he can continue to grow so well. I hope he gets the opportunity to play for the Portuguese national team as soon as possible, and I even look forward to seeing him and his father wearing the Portuguese jersey together, bringing glory to their country. Cristiano Ronaldo? Ronaldo doesn't need my evaluation, he's one of the best strikers in this tournament. He will definitely become one of the best strikers in the world in the future, or even surpass that. He was the only player who headed that free kick with his eyes open. His courage and responsibility have made him who he is today, and will make him who he is in the future. Deng Kai showered the post-match interviews with praise. A series of positive comments that will surely move his teammates who watched the interviews. Because what he said touched on points that the players cared about and wanted others to see. Especially Meireles. He truly made a huge sacrifice on the field for Deng Kai. Afterwards, Deng Kai found a staff member and asked for a match ball. To be precise, the ball from which he scored his second goal. This held unparalleled commemorative, market, value for him. The organizers were generous, not even requiring Deng Kai to pay the original price of the football. Back then, commercial development related to matches in Europe was still quite rudimentary. It wasn't until teams like Manchester United and Liverpool were acquired by Americans that the American model of profiting from commercial sports truly began to take hold in European football. At that time, the match balls used by players could fetch exorbitant prices at auction. While the value of football merchandise skyrocketed, it also lost its original function of conveying the emotions between players and fans. Money tainted the emotions. Deng Kai couldn't change this, so he could only join in early. His three most valuable footballs were, the ball used in the UEFA U16 final, the ball used in the first UEFA Youth League final, and the match ball used by Manchester United in the 1998-1999 Champions League final. At the time, Deng Kai had only mentioned it casually. Who knew Ferguson would actually get the ball for him? But recently, Ferguson seemed to have realized something. Manchester United were preparing to showcase their treble-winning season in their trophy room, but upon reflection, they realized that the 3 trophies and a few medals seemed somewhat lonely and needed some additions. After some inquiries, they discovered that the final ball was with Duncan. The jerseys of Solskjaer, Sheringham, and Beckham were also with Duncan. Even Ferguson's Champions League medal was with Duncan. Ferguson subsequently called Duncan twice, subtly hinting at his intentions. However, the usually astute Duncan played dumb, seemingly oblivious to the unspoken message, leaving Ferguson speechless. Finally, Duncan offered to put Sheringham's autographed jersey in Manchester United's trophy room. But note, it was put on loan to Manchester United. Ownership remained with Duncan. He didn't mention any revenue sharing for viewings. Manchester United, of course, wouldn't agree to that. But anyone who visits the Manchester United treble-winning exhibition hall in the future will inevitably ask one question: why are there no match balls, no Solskjaer jerseys, no Beckham jerseys, no Ferguson medals? And then the tour guide will tell them that those items are all at Deng Kai's house, or rather, his football museum. Regardless of whether Deng Kai actually runs an exhibition hall, any celebrity with such a vast collection of rare football memorabilia would be thrilled to open a shop selling autographed footballs and jerseys, right? Here's a quick way to get rich for Wang Tao: no need for consultation fees, just send him a Cristiano Ronaldo jersey. I suggest not getting an autograph, because I heard Wang Tao's jerseys are real, but the autographs are, no words left, the World Cup ruined me. Currently writing 2 more chapters tonight. Chapter 153: The Final Frenzy of Serie A. Soon, the podium was set up. The Portuguese U16 players went up one by one to receive their awards. Deng Kai wasn't the team captain, so he simply stood to the side, making his achievements seem even more understated. Font had already received treatment in the locker room. He was temporarily fine, just a little blurry-eyed and needed time to rest. Cristiano Ronaldo, however, was in a worse state. His left eye was bloodshot, his left cheek was swollen, and he had 2 wads of tissue in his nose to prevent further bleeding. 1, 2, 3. We are the champions. A classic photo was thus preserved. This is also very likely Ronaldo's ugliest award-receiving photo ever. Besides the team awards, UEFA also announced the individual honors for the tournament before the awards ceremony. Quaresma, Deng Kai, Cristiano Ronaldo, Font, Meireles, Iniesta, Torres, Reina, and others were selected for the best eye. Among them, Deng Kai, with 4 goals and 8 assists, won the tournament's top assist provider and best midfielder awards. Quaresma won the Golden Boot and Best Forward awards in the tournament with 9 goals and 3 assists. He was also named the tournament's best player. Portugal U16 wins Europe. A golden generation in its prime, another diamond generation rising? Superstars shine. Quaresma's superstar goal keeps Portugal alive. Chinese-American star scores twice to turn the tide. Quaresma, tournament best player, not yet officially entered the first team, yet his value is already approaching €10 million. A youthful Champions League final? Deng Kai scores 2 goals in 3 minutes, completing a last-minute equalizer. The Spain-Portugal match ends in a fierce battle, red cards everywhere, yellow cards useless. Iniesta's free kicks hit his head twice. Font and Ronaldo both go to the hospital for further examination. Gabi's flying kick from behind on Deng Kai leads to red card, becoming the team's villain. His irrationality caused the team's failure. Deng Kai's tackling from behind on Iniesta leads to red card, becoming the team's hero. His rationality helped the team win the final victory. The Avengers add a new member. Arteta refuses to talk about Deng Kai after the match. Deng Kai's post-match interview: "Hello everyone, I'm Thanos. Portugal is very satisfied with the U16 team's excellent performance. Various media outlets are praising it. But looking at the whole of Europe, the European U16 Championship only stays on the headlines for a day at most. Even if there are explosive transfer rumors, it's unlikely to last even a day." Deng Kai has no regrets about this. After all, the summer of 1999 was the final frenzy of Serie A, known as the Little World Cup. They spent a whopping €400 million in the transfer market, shocking the world €23.9 million. AC Milan signs Champions League top scorer, Andriy Shevchenko from Dynamo Kiev. AC Milan has a long-term vision, signs young midfielder Gattuso for €8 million. Sao Paulo star Serginho acquired for €9 million. AC Milan strengthens the team. Hope for the defenders? AC Milan signs Colaccini from Boca Juniors for €7.5 million. Can this 17-year-old bring a new look to AC Milan? AC Milan has been rejuvenated. Parma, a powerhouse in Serie A, won the UEFA Cup and the Coppa Italia, and finished 4th in Serie A. They have grand ambitions. Therefore, they rejected offers from other clubs for players like Crespo, Buffon, and Thuram. They also spent €28 million to acquire last season's Serie A top scorer, Amoruso. In addition, they spent €15.4 million to acquire Inter Milan midfielder Dabo. They acquired Argentine playmaker Ortega from Sampdoria for €4 million. They also snapped up 23-year-old striker Di Vaio, who scored 12 goals last season, from Salernitana for €9 million. Meanwhile, Fiorentina also made steady progress. They not only retained their star player Batistuta, but also spent €14.5 million to sign Chiesa. They spent €12 million to sign 1997 Ballon d'Or winner Mijatovic from Real Madrid. Of course, the most extravagant move was by Inter Milan. This summer, Inter Milan spent a whopping €100 million, showcasing their strength and ambition. Headlines included, Mr. €90 billion. World's best striker Christian Vieri transfers to Inter Milan, setting a new transfer record. Dream attack line. Christian Vieri joins Ronaldo, Baggio, Recoba, and Zamorano. Inter Milan aims for 100 goals next season. Moratti truly loves Inter. Breaking the world football transfer fee record for the second time in 3 years. Clarence Seedorf joins Inter Milan for €24 million. Has Real Madrid found a replacement? €19 million. Inter Milan signs last season's Serie A best goalkeeper, Juventus number 1 Peruzzi. Lazio makes a move. Signs Juan Sebastian Veron for €30 million, and Atletico Madrid's Rangers Simeone for €10 million from Inter Milan. Vincenzo Montella transfers to Roma for €25 million, helping the Giallorossi rise. The Giallorossi adds another powerful player, €22 million acquisition of the most expensive Asian player, Hidetoshi Nakata. Compared to the big spending sprees of the Serie A giants, Juventus seems somewhat stingy. Not only did they fail to make any strong signings, but they also sold the mediocre French star Thierry Henry to Arsenal for €16 million. Coupled with the departure of their goalkeeper, even the arrival of Zambrata hasn't quite satisfied their star player, Zinedine Zidane. In terms of transfer fees, Serie A is undoubtedly in a league of its own. Of the top 20 transfer fees this summer, Serie A accounted for 12. And they swept 7 of the top 8. Apart from Real Madrid bringing the French talent from Arsenal to the Bernabeu for €35 million, no other transfers can rival those of the Serie A giants. Faced with this news, the news of Portugal's U16 European Championship victory gradually faded into the background. The mainstream world is proceeding as usual. But this doesn't mean that the world outside the mainstream isn't exciting. Chinese football, or more precisely, Chinese youth football, also ushered in new changes this year. Zhang Yunzhu returned to China this summer, partly for a work review and to secure a promotion and raise. She's now the deputy editor-in-chief of a sports weekly. The other reason was to facilitate the transfer of some of Oaxaca's best players, commissioned by Sporting Lisbon Football Club. Trigura gave Zhang Yunzhu a list of players Trigura wanted: Yu Shihao, Hao Jinmin, Xiao Jiaoyi, Chen Tao, Feng Xiaoding, and others. However, Zhang Yunzhu's efforts were unsuccessful. Arheo was he definitely needs to study, he'll go to university someday. How can he go abroad to play football? Exactly. It's so chaotic out there. I wouldn't feel comfortable letting my Minmin go abroad to play football alone. Chengdu University of Information Technology has already agreed to admit Arwiwazi through the sports specialty program, and Beijing Sport University is also considering it. Are we stupid enough to send our kid to Portugal now? Sorry, Chen Tao is a youth player from our Guangxing Football Club. We won't compromise on the transfer fee. Editor-in-Chief Zhang, we know Sporting Lisbon is sincere, but we have our own development plan for Xiaoding. We still want him to receive training in China during his development stage. For various reasons, Zhang Yunzhu didn't manage to negotiate with any of these players. Unsure of what to do, Zhang Yunzhu initially wanted to call Trigura to report on the progress. However, she checked the time and realized that Deng Kai's medical examination report should be ready soon, so she called Deng Kai first. Chapter 154: Hidden Dangers of Heart Disease. After the European U17 Championship, players injured on the field, such as Cristiano Ronaldo, and Deng Kai, underwent more comprehensive physical examinations at the hospital. It was Deng Kai who suggested this. The examinations were quite lengthy and systematic. Deng Kai particularly emphasized the additional examination of the heart, which was somewhat puzzling. Could it be, he has a heart condition? No problem? That shouldn't be. Deng Kai held a hospital report, finding it incredibly unbelievable. I clearly remember, this doesn't make sense. Cristiano Ronaldo clenched his fists beside him. What? My body is so healthy, yet you're so surprised. How much do you want me to find out I have some terminal illness? Is cursing the only thing you can do when facing a footballer better than you? Yes, Deng Kai was holding Cristiano Ronaldo's medical report. This. Deng Kai smiled slightly. The footballer you're talking about who's better than me, is it Cristiano Ronaldo, whose goal-creating statistics in this European U17 Championship are inferior to mine, and whose individual honors are too fewer than mine? Cristiano Ronaldo couldn't take it anymore, he was about to retaliate. The two playfully wrestled for a while until Cristiano Ronaldo's family arrived. Alright, I'll talk to you later, see you in a month and a half. Cristiano Ronaldo waved to Deng Kai, preparing to say goodbye. His vacation was finally about to begin. Don't just play around, you're at the age where you're improving your skills, keep training even during the vacation, Deng Kai advised. But turning around, Deng Kai said to Cristiano Ronaldo's mother, don't let Cristiano Ronaldo train too hard, take him out more often, let him relax and have some fun. Our matches this season have been very intense. Pressure is certainly a driving force, but too much pressure can also break a person. Cristiano Ronaldo's mother was very touched by Deng Kai's advice and warmly invited him to her home. Deng Kai politely declined the invitation because his parents were taking him back to China this summer to visit relatives and friends. After working abroad for so many years, Deng's parents had only returned home a handful of times. Although they sent a lot of money home, the round trip was still a bit too much for them. The key was that they rarely had a long vacation before. Now it's different, they've both quit their jobs and stopped being porters. The warehouse where Deng Kai stored autographed footballs was managed by his two elders, mainly responsible for maintenance and upkeep. This job was practically non-existent. After watching Ronaldo and his family leave, Deng Kai frowned. Logically speaking, Ronaldo's heart attack should have occurred this year or next. Deng Kai had suggested a thorough medical checkup to address the problem early. But to his surprise, Ronaldo's medical report was completely normal. He consulted a professor of medicine at the University of Lisbon, who explained that some diseases have no symptoms before an attack. Not only are there no clinical symptoms, but there are also no structural manifestations within the body. Such illnesses are unpredictable and difficult to treat in advance. Treatment can only be administered after an attack. Of course, the sudden onset of such illnesses is generally not fatal, and may not even be very serious. Therefore, Deng Kai felt relieved and let Ronaldo leave. Beep beep beep. Deng Kai's phone rang. Hey. Sister Yunzu. Oh, it's nothing, I'm perfectly healthy. This matter, perfect timing, I'm going back to China in a couple of days, how about we stop contacting the club for now and see how things go when I get back? Okay, then we'll talk in person. Deng Kai stayed in China for a total of half a month. During that time, besides talking to Hathaway on the phone, he mainly dealt with the transfer issues of several young players. He didn't work out with Feng Xiaoding. He comes from a sports family, and his family has a training plan for him, which is a good thing. In fact, Feng Xiaoding's development in China is not a problem. His biggest problem is that he didn't find a way to go abroad in time after the World Youth Championship. He's a good piece of jade, but if he wasn't polished when he should have been, his future quality will naturally be lower. So Feng Xiaoding's move to Europe can be postponed. But the other players can't. The other players come from ordinary families, without the support of a sports family. They may be quite outstanding now, but in the future, at most they'll be just ordinary people in some bureau of China construction, occasionally playing in the entertainment department with the leaders or helping the company win some matches in the China construction system. He's certainly better than the average person, but he can't compare to professional players, let alone stars playing in the top 5 European leagues. Deng Kai spoke with several players, and Yu Shihao and the others had also been in contact with Wu Zedong, learning that Wu Zedong had won a double championship this year. When he returned to Tonglio after the season, his parents were overjoyed. They gave him their best white horse from their stable and even had a set of high-quality silver riding attire made for him. In their area, this kind of traditional clothing isn't just something you can get if you have money, you also need to have achieved a certain level of success. Otherwise you wouldn't dare wear it even if you had it made. It's said that local schools in Tonglio have already listed Wu Zedong as an outstanding student. The school has even made clear regulations regarding the school's football field, returning the field to students who play football, and actively incorporating football into physical education classes for recreational teaching, etc. They're all 15 or 16 years old, but what is Wu Zedong doing? He already has regional influence. And what about Yu Shihao, Hao Jinmin, and Xiao Jiaowei? It's impossible not to be tempted. The first movers have already profited, it's not too late for them to follow suit. Not to mention the autographed footballs, jerseys, and posters Deng Kai gave them when he met them. Eusebio, Figo, Zidane, Guardiola, Beckham, Scholes. If they wanted to, they could even meet these figures in person. Not at events, but in real life. Who could resist that? Mom, I want to go to Portugal to play football. My grades are just so-so. At best, I'll get into a second-tier university, earning 2,000 or 3,000 a month, maybe 3,000 or 4,000. Do you know how much Wu Zedong earned playing football for half a year? Converted to a currency, that's tens of thousands. And don't even mention Deng Kai. A young star like him, who has won so many individual honors, has hundreds of thousands of RMB in prize money alone. Not to mention the sponsorship fees from advertisers. I heard Adidas is planning to sign him, and the signing fee is around 1 million RMB. I'm not going for the money, Mom and Dad, but if I can pursue my football dream and earn a lot of money at the same time, why don't we give it a try? The first wave of communication between the young footballers and their families stirred something in their hearts. But it still wasn't quite there yet. Who knew Deng Kai was so attentive? He had Sporting Lisbon arrange for its youth players to attend top local public schools. Actually, many clubs have this system in their youth training programs. They just don't promote it much because people don't think it's that important. But Deng Kai knew what parents in China were most worried about at this stage: education. Education. And more education. So Deng Kai used this policy to have Zhang Yunzhu communicate with the parents of the young footballers. The effect was immediately different. This is one of the best public schools in Portugal. This kind of basic education is recognized both domestically and internationally. Only the children of many wealthy people have the opportunity to receive a high-quality education abroad from a young age. This is not to say that education in China is not high quality. It's just that there is a lot of inferior education abroad, but the school provided by Sporting Lisbon is truly excellent. I think the child of so-and-so, the richest person in some province, studies here. And they can directly take the entrance exams for universities all over Europe from here. That's much easier than getting into a prestigious university in China, and more importantly, it's much rarer. They can easily get into a world-renowned university. Even if it's not a prestigious university, they're still international students. These days, diploma mills and overseas returnees haven't been completely eradicated yet, and they're still very attractive. Even 20 years from now, while diplomas from overseas diploma mills may be worthless, the experience of studying abroad will still be a valuable asset, giving the individual an extra competitive edge. At the very least, it proves that your family is indeed well off. I heard some people want to see Peach's predictions to eliminate a wrong answer. I'm furious. I've been joking for so long, I can't believe some readers actually think I, a writer, don't understand football. So today, I'll open your eyes and give you a 4-game prediction that's all correct. Remember to come back and tip if you win. I'm not responsible for any losses. 1. Japan's attack relies heavily on speed and space. In the last game, Germany's possession and attacking style gave them a lot of open space for counterattacks. But Costa Rica is different. This team always plays defensively, so even if Japan wants all 3 points in this game, it will be difficult for them to score, and a draw is highly probable too. Morocco's style of play is not weak, and they are under pressure to score, so they will definitely want to play aggressively. But De Bruyne can even break through a defensive wall, so it will be even easier for him against teams willing to play aggressively. Judging from the score, Belgium might have played conservatively and drawn if they wanted to play it safe. However, Belgium exposed several attacking problems in their last match, and they will likely try more in attack to prepare for the knockout stage. Therefore, Belgium will not only win, but win big 3. Croatia is unremarkable, but Modric is key. He played steadily in the first half and then stepped up in the second. A narrow victory over Canada secured them a place in the knockout stage 4. Spain vs Germany. Spain is aiming for a draw and can win. But the concern is that these young players might lose their temper and try to advance directly in the second round, playing too aggressively. Crucially, Spain's midfielders and forwards haven't yet shown exceptional individual ability. If they lose their composure, I'm betting on Germany to win. Germany isn't lacking in ability, just luck. You're welcome. Remember to give a good review. Chapter 155, Is Kai's fan Messi? Anyone who's entered the workforce knows that family background is part of a person's competitiveness. The child is happy. They can pursue their dreams. They have the opportunity to earn a lot of money. The club provides a guaranteed living allowance, requiring no extra spending. Free overseas study. Easier access to prestigious universities. With the last 2 conditions, practically no parent would disagree. So what if the child is alone and miserable abroad? Isn't it the same if the parents go out to work while the child is left behind in their hometown? Yu Shihao, Hao Jianmin, and Xiao Jiaoyi successively signed youth training contracts with Sporting Lisbon, becoming players playing in Europe. In this series of connections, Deng Kai played an irreplaceable coordinating role. Sporting Lisbon symbolically gave Deng Kai some thank you money, essentially treating him as a local scout. Sports Weekly followed the entire process, turning this part into a transfer feature. Upon publication, it sparked nationwide discussion and praise. Sports Weekly also awarded Deng Kai a bonus and a thank you payment. With these funds, Deng Kai established the Deng Kai Children's Football Foundation. The money wasn't much, but it aimed to help outstanding young footballers, such as through transfer assistance. Zhang Yunzhu became the foundation's manager, serving as a bridge between Sporting Lisbon and the domestic football scene. Simultaneously, Deng Kai and Zhang Yunzhu established a football agent company. Deng Kai wholly owned the company, holding the majority of the shares. Zhang Yunzhu contributed technical and management expertise, acting as the actual operator. They brought Wu Zudong, Yu Shihao, Hao Jinmin, Xiao Jiaoyi, and others under their wing. Zhang Yunzu is currently studying for her agent certification. She's become a slashy, someone with multiple careers, planning her first foray into agent management. Deng Kai wished Zhang Yunzu would become China's Raiola. Zhang Yunzu retorted, "But you'd better become Bergkamp and Nedved first." This remark was later overheard by Yu Shihao and the others. They jokingly referred to Hao Junmin as the Wuhan Nedved, Yu Shihao as the Mianyang Inzaghi, Xiao Jiaoyi as the Jiangao Thuram, and Wu Zudong as the Tongliao Zanetti. However, neither Deng Kai nor Zhang Yunzu expected that the Children's Football Foundation's second major expense would be spent on litigation. Chen Tao, a player from Sichuan Quanxing Football Youth Training Center and also a member of the Oaxaca team, received a signing offer from Sporting Lisbon. However, the team demanded a high transfer fee. After learning this, Chen Tao communicated with the team's management, hoping they would be lenient and let him go. He argued that he was just a youth training player and couldn't possibly be sold for a high price. However, this communication was not smooth. Chen Tao planned to pay for the contract termination himself, but not only was the termination fee exorbitant, but Quanxing also wanted Chen Tao to pay a training fee. This left him with no choice but to go to court. Sports Weekly considered this case representative and, together with the Deng Kai Children's Football Foundation, provided assistance to Chen Tao, hoping to break through the unhealthy practices in domestic transfers. The movement of excellent players is an inevitable part of football development. Totti's final season at Roma and Kane's being tricked into staying at Tottenham have seriously affected their historical standing. In other words, only player mobility can bring about fan mobility, thus creating true superstars and powerhouses in a nurturing environment. Only then can the influence of the sport truly spread. This applies to both football and basketball. During the lawsuit, Chen Tao was sidelined by the team. However, the foundation stated it would fully support Chen Tao's training expenses during this period and invited him to train with Sporting Lisbon's U17 youth team. This was a special benefit that Trigura secured for Deng Kai. Yes, Deng Kai will play for the team's U17 team in the new season. However, Trigura had warned Deng Kai that he and other excellent players like Ronaldo could be called up to higher-level teams at any time during the season. It's even possible that after Trigura becomes the first team coach, he will have Ronaldo and Deng Kai train with the first team to experience real professional football. As for the U17 team, it's essentially just a warm-up for Deng Kai and Ronaldo. Deng Kai believes in Trigura's promise. Because the future Ronaldo once jumped 5 levels in a single year. In Trigura's mind, a talent like Deng Kai doesn't need to wait until he's 18 to enter the professional scene. He could accept players as young as 16 or even younger. Because that's true genius. What? You mean Cristiano Ronaldo? The difference between Ronaldo and Deng Kai is that Ronaldo might dominate in the U15s, but not necessarily in the U17s or U19s. He's the kind of player who can quickly reach the limits of an environment, but he can't break free from its constraints. Deng Kai, even in the U15s, inspires confidence that he can perform well in higher-level competitions. Chen Tao is the foundation's second largest expenditure. So what about the first? The first expenditure, at Deng Kai's suggestion, was a donation made by Zhang Yunzu through media connections to a young player named Lionel Andres Messi Cucitini in the youth team of Newell's Old Boys Football Club in Argentina. The player was diagnosed with growth hormone deficiency 2 years ago. The team initially agreed to cover the medical expenses, but as Messi grew older, the monthly treatment cost of at least $1,000 led the club to abandon the project. When Messi's father, Jorge, received the donation, he was somewhat bewildered. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't know what the Deng Kai Children's Football Foundation was. But Messi did. Perhaps Jorge had forgotten that he had watched Deng Kai play with Messi and encouraged him to be like Deng Kai, never giving up on football despite his short stature. Messi had continued to follow Deng Kai and left numerous comments on Sporting Lisbon's official website, several of which were featured. He's not tall, but he's always a force to be reckoned with on the pitch. If you dare ignore him, you'll be punished, from Kaiser. My former football idol was Aimer the Clown, but now, there's another player named Deng Kai. He makes me believe I can still play football. I see his innate fighting spirit. Messi's social media accounts used his own name. Deng Kai regularly browsed certain information to ensure his information didn't fall behind mainstream media. He noticed this comment and replied to his die-hard fan, no, I can do without the Great Firewall. Only after replying did he realize. Holy crap! This is Messi? Ronaldo, your arch-nemesis has arrived. Deng Kai didn't delve into whether the Messi fan he was referring to was actually that Messi, but he did remember him. So, he took a portion of his UEFA Youth League prize money and donated it through a children's foundation. How to put it, it wasn't that he had too much money to burn. It was mainly because this investment was incredibly profitable. This was the most legendary aspect of Messi's story, even more widely circulated than the napkin signing, and would be told by countless people in the future. But the future version of this story might very well be, with Deng Kai's support, Messi persisted in his football dream and grew to 1.7 meters tall. 1.7 meters? Deng Kai suddenly wanted to withdraw the funds. After all, his height was currently only 1.65 meters. Ha ha ha. Yes. In one summer, Deng Kai's height surged by more than 10 centimeters, reaching the upper limit of his body. This was related to Cristiano Ronaldo's unparalleled genius talent. It was also related to Deng Kai's growth spurred by winning the treble this season. His personal statistics underwent a dramatic change this summer. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156 European Youth Championship Rewards, Significant Boost to Personal Stats. Ling. You've won a match. Your rating for this game is SSS. You've obtained a super training pole. Donglong special drink. BIAOK bandage. You've gained an item slot. You've gained a tactics slot. You've gained blue player skills, midfield commander, pressing defense. You've gained purple star skills, Marseille's turn, bicycle boy. You've obtained a star drop, Arteta's tactical whiteboard. The rewards from the European U16 Championship are quite generous. Having an extra item slot means Deng Kai can now add more to his already full inventory of equipped items. Sex hockey stick is a little further away from being discarded. The tactics slot is a new thing. Deng Kai didn't understand its function at first, until he saw Arteta's tactical whiteboard. To be fair, as fellow Barcelona stars, Arteta is more valuable than Iniesta. It seems that weaker players do indeed drop more items. The weaker the player, the more items they drop. So far, the player who has provided Deng Kai with the most player drops is, Cristiano Ronaldo. Arteta's tactical whiteboard occupies one tactical slot. Attacking runs +2, defensive runs +2, interceptions +2, short passes +1, long passes +1. You and your teammates can adapt to possession-based tactics and positional defense more quickly through training. Applause. Deng Kai was truly amazed by this tactical whiteboard. He hadn't expected Arteta to be so outstanding at such a young age. No wonder Guardiola, who later became Manchester City's manager, commented on his assistant coach Arteta, "I learn more from him than he learned from me." And after Arteta managed Arsenal for a few years, the Gunners really did improve, even topping the Premier League table in the first half of the 2022-2023 season. The basic attribute increases from this tactical whiteboard are impressive, but the key is that it's a rare skill that can help teammates improve as well. What is this called? This is called having your own system. Who has their own system? The team's core. This core isn't necessarily the team's obvious star player, captain, or highest paid player, but rather the absolute tactical core. Bringing your own system isn't scary. What's scary is getting your teammates to quickly adapt to it. Many top midfielders are labeled as flops when they move to a new environment, largely not because of their own shortcomings, but because their system doesn't fit in with their teammates. Mendieta, the absolute core of Valencia, is a prime example. He won the European Midfielder of the Year award twice in La Liga, but 2 years later, after joining Lazio in Serie A for €48 million, he never recovered, partly due to lack of adaptation. Returning to the tactical blank canvas, possession-based tactics and positioning defense are two different things. There has always been much debate about what possession-based football actually is. But in this context, possession-based football is essentially using good technique and teamwork to compensate for or mask players' physical limitations and abilities. The most common problem with possession-based teams is that they are a blazing fire when together, but a complete mess when scattered. Because of high possession, Possession-based tactics solve the opponent's tactical attacking problems. Without the ball, the opponent has no attack, thus solving the problem of losing possession at its root. Of course, besides tactical attacks, the opponent also has transition attacks, which are counter-attacks after the passing team loses possession. To counter this, different approaches can be taken, such as high pressing or a rapid retreat. Arsenal prefers a retreat, while Barcelona prefers high pressing. Each has its advantages. The tactical whiteboard that Deng Kai received from Arteta provides a complete set of tactical combinations. Frankly speaking, Deng Kai could easily be a tactical coach for a small team with this whiteboard. Midfield commander, short pass +1. Increases the success rate of passes from teammates. Pressure defense, when applying pressure on the opponent in your own half, your mobility and physical strength are slightly enhanced. Perfect. These two player skills are perfectly suited to the tactical whiteboard. The former further enhances Deng Kai's core role. The latter, used in conjunction with positional defense, allows Deng Kai to also shine on the defensive end. Marseille's turn, initially known as the Zidane turn, this is a flashy and practical escape technique. Dribbling +2. Using the Marseille's turn will increase your speed. A smooth Marseille's turn is equivalent to 2 spins. The purple skill effects are indeed more numerous. It has the ability to escape, can accelerate, and is equivalent to 2 skills, even when paired with a most expensive spinning top. PFFT. Deng Kai looked at the last skill and burst out laughing. Bicycle kick. This is the first technical move that most young footballers aspire to master, stylish and agile. Dribbling +2. Less than 3 bicycle kicks offer less deception and a smaller shot boost. 3 to 5 bicycle kicks increase deception and a smaller speed boost. 6 or more bicycle kicks continuously increase deception, but also make you more vulnerable to retaliation from defenders. Under Ronaldo's influence, your technique has morphed, and you've mastered the electric bicycle kick effect. Your bicycle kick speed has increased, losing some of its visual appeal and deception but gaining a significant shot and speed boost. The probability of slipping on the ball and failing the bicycle kick also increases dramatically. You can only successfully perform an electric bicycle kick once per match. I can't hold back anymore. They're bashing Ronaldo again. But to be fair, the electric bicycle kick effect is powerful. It simultaneously boosts speed and shot, and a significant one at that. It's an absolute godsend for overpowered shots. It just comes with some risk. If you slip on the ball, it'll be embarrassing. Moreover, according to the skill description, the electric bicycle can fail many times in a match, but can only succeed once. This is too risky. If you slip and fall several times in a match, that's really lame. And even if you succeed, the aesthetics of the electric bicycle can't compare to a regular bicycle. This is really a dilemma. Should I use an electric bicycle or a regular bicycle to dribble past opponents in the future? After receiving the reward, Deng Kai checked his personal data. Because of a lot of training and matches, Deng Kai's personal data changes every month. This month, this data increases by a few points. Next month, that data increases by a few points. Throughout the year, the improvement is substantial. In particular, winning honors such as championships, best player, assist leader, top scorer, and best team further helps his growth. Players with the same talent and the same amount of training and matches will have different growth rates each season depending on their personal data and honors. Deng Kai's growth over the past year has almost reached its maximum. Because he really won every championship he participated in that year, and also won many individual honors equals overall technical rating. 59.929 attacking positioning. 68 ball control. 76 dribbling. 67 shooting. 60 set pieces. 61 long passes. 64 short passes. 76 defensive positioning. 63 interceptions. 61 tackling. 49 blocks. 40 clearances. 45 heading. 51 curve. 58 equals overall physical rating. 62.625 speed. 61 acceleration. 65 step frequency. 73 foot power. 58 jumping. 55 strength. 55 agility. 73 stamina. 61 equals vision. 8 left foot. 3 right foot. 7 injury resistance. 3 form consistency. 5 equals overall rating. 61.277 equals compared to a year ago. Deng Kai's progress has been transformative. At this rate of development, he could reach the ceiling of individual ability for a football player before the age of 20. Furthermore, this data is not yet complete. In a month or two, Deng Kai's overall physical assessment should see another surge. This is because he has just grown taller and hasn't yet undergone the corresponding weight gain in physical training. Many players need to adapt after a growth spurt. After adapting, their physical limits will see a significant leap. In sports, you might train hard for years and only achieve a fraction of a second. But once the body develops again, the performance often improves by 1/10, 2/10, or even 3 seconds. The latter, compared to the former, is what's known as overwhelming talent. Chapter 157. Trigger loses his backer, Messi rises with tears in his eyes. In early August, the Portuguese government announced some amendments to its tax law. This was a routine change, involving few provisions and having little impact on ordinary people, so it didn't cause much of a stir in society. Tax law amendments usually occur because someone has exploited loopholes. The authorities discover these loopholes, patch them up, and those who exploit them are often punished. This time, however, the person who changed the tax law was a wealthy Portuguese businessman. This is unrelated to football, but this businessman is also a high-ranking official at Sporting Lisbon, a Portuguese Primeira Liga team. Sporting Lisbon's performance has been disappointing in recent years, and fans have long been dissatisfied. They've waited 4 years for the day when the club's president would be re-elected. As a wealthy businessman with ideals, a passion for football, and money, this businessman had just announced his candidacy for the Sporting Lisbon club presidency a month ago. The result? He was immediately imprisoned. It just goes to show how murky things can be in foreign football. Actually, with money, tax issues aren't a big problem. This businessman should be out in a few months at most. But the problem lies in the timing. This businessman will undoubtedly miss the election. And he was none other than Trigger's powerful backer. Sporting Lisbon's president was successfully re-elected. Ignoring the highly popular Trigger, he instead invited veteran coach Augusto Inácio as the team's new head coach. Immediately, complaints arose. But this wasn't the end of it. 2 days later, the newly appointed Augusto stated in an interview that the team's roster was too old and too young, and with no signings in the past 2 years, poor performance was normal. To achieve good results, Sporting Lisbon needed to bring in enough excellent players. He provided the club with a list of players whose total value exceeded €30 million. Among them, the 3-time Portuguese League Golden Boot winner and Porto star player, Jardel, was his key target, valued at over €15 million. This price was definitely not expensive for Jardel. With him, any team could dominate the Portuguese league. But then again, is the Portuguese league title only worth €15 million? This isn't the Premier League, Serie A, La Liga, Bundesliga, or Ligue 1. This is just the Portuguese league. In the past 2 years, the strongest players from the second-tier league have gone to Serie A, and regardless of their age, they're all called rookies. A rookie player costing €15 million means that in everyone's eyes, this player has the potential of Ronaldo and Zidane. Jardel, does he deserve that? Trigger immediately spoke out to stop them. Sporting Lisbon has its own system. Although we haven't won the title in the past, our overall performance isn't far behind the champion teams. What the team needs is a high-level coach, not just blindly bringing in star players. Sporting Lisbon has no shortage of star players. From Figo to Simeo, Quaresma is the next superstar. He has the ability to lead the team further. Augusto, in an interview with the media, seemed to respond to Trigger. The team has already brought in a high-level coach, but the team still lacks the corresponding players. A team that repeatedly makes newcomers the team's top stars, doesn't that just show that the other players aren't good enough? Without buying Zidane, could Juventus have reached the Champions League final? Without buying Ronaldo, what kind of revival can Inter Milan talk about? Without buying Jardel, how can Sporting Lisbon win the Portuguese league title? I'm here for only one purpose, to make Sporting Lisbon the Juventus of the Portuguese league. The Inter Milan of the Portuguese league. Juventus, the team with the most Serie A titles. Inter Milan, the team that spent the most and had the most superstars in this summer's transfer window. How could fans resist such a slogan? Suddenly, the winds blew in Augusto's favor. Augusto was the team's head coach. Trigger was the team's chief assistant coach. Their differing opinions made coexistence difficult. A few days later, Sporting Lisbon officially announced the signing of Jardel from Porto for €17 million, offering him the highest salary in the Portuguese league. While welcoming Jardel's arrival, Augusto hinted in an interview that he felt too constrained and that the team needed more autonomy to revitalize itself. The very next day, Trigueiro received a notice from the team asking him to coach the youth team. Trigueiro was furious and forced to choose the U17 team because Duncan and Cristiano Ronaldo were there. Meanwhile, the team's original youth coach, Messi, was promoted to the first-team assistant coaching staff. Reportedly, Augusto highly valued Messi, believing him to be a truly talented technical coach who needed to help him refine the team's tactics. This reflects the tactical shortcomings of traditional coaches like Augusto. However, it's never too late to admit mistakes and correct them. "My tactical understanding isn't enough, I'll just find someone who is," he might say. To this, Messi replied, "He certainly was." Messi left in tears. He knew his coaching myth was about to crumble. "Kai, how can I live without you? Kai, please keep me here, Kai. Kai, I can be Triguero's assistant coach." It must be said that Trigueiro was initially somewhat dissatisfied with Messi's promotion. He suspected Messi had connections with Augusto and was currying favor with someone new. But Messi's tears made Trigueiro feel guilty. Little Messi is so loyal and devoted. These tears, this sadness, absolutely cannot be faked. "I actually suspected little Messi had another horse outside. I'm simply inhuman." Trigueiro therefore spoke with Messi a few more times, encouraging him to work hard in his new environment, utilize his abilities, and strive to shine. Messi cried even harder. "If I really had the ability, I'd cry my eyes out." And so, Sporting Lisbon U17, under Trigueiro's coaching, entered the pre-season training camp. Trigueiro had selected some young players from the U15 squad, including Deng Kai, Cristiano Ronaldo, Angelo, Semedo, Duarte, and Wu Zidane. The day before the training camp began, Trigueiro specially invited Deng Kai and Cristiano Ronaldo to his home. During the visit, Trigueiro revealed a big secret: "Several teams have invited me to coach them." Deng Kai and Cristiano Ronaldo's spirits lifted. "However, I didn't agree." Trigueiro changed the subject. "Jardel isn't suited to Sporting Lisbon's style of play. We've always been good at developing wingers, and the rise of wingers requires the center forward to relinquish a lot of authority. At the same time, the center forward also needs to stretch the defense for the wingers, drop back to receive passes, and act as a target man, etc. Although Jardel is tall and strong, his technique is rough. He's lazy in his running, and he doesn't have the ability to act as a target man. He's a shooting machine. Sporting Lisbon's transfer efforts will end in failure. I bet Augusto will be sacked in the winter transfer window." Deng Kai understood what Trigueiro meant. After the winter transfer window, he would very likely become the head coach of Sporting Lisbon's first team. Not finished yet, there should be 2 more updates tonight. Some people say that Peach is a jinx when it comes to betting. Peach laughed. "You only saw the score or the outcome was slightly different, but you didn't see that the game was exactly as Peach analyzed? Today, I'll just show you a little bit. Cameroon and Serbia are 2 strong teams, and a draw is inevitable. There will definitely be many goals from both sides, and Serbia will win in the end." In the group of South Korea and Ghana, South Korea's attack was slightly weaker, but also dirtier. It should be a brutal battle. With a low-scoring game, Ghana will win. As for Brazil and Switzerland, there are only 2 teams in this World Cup whose goals are unrelated to their opponents. How many they scored depends entirely on their own mood and form. One is France, and the other is Brazil. If Brazil doesn't win this match, they're doomed. 4 years ago, Uruguay eliminated Portugal in the round of 16, but times have changed. Uruguay's attack is aging, and Nunes is consistently underperforming. Their midfield is luxurious, but they lack a cohesive playing style. Portugal will win, with Ronaldo scoring a hat-trick. Best regards, Akafat Peach. Chapter 158 Chinese Super Group? Even without his powerful connections, Trigueiro's years of dedication to Sporting Lisbon are undeniable. After Augusto's departure, Trigueiro can at least serve as a temporary interim coach. His return to the first team is only a matter of time. This time with the U17 team is just a break. He can also nurture Deng Kai and Ronaldo, reminiscing about the early days of developing talented players. Isn't that how ancient high-ranking officials retired? Retirement is for a better return. When the time comes, Sporting Lisbon's management will have to bring Trigueiro back with great fanfare. Then we must congratulate you in advance. Deng Kai said without hesitation, downing a glass of honey water. I'll drink it all, you can drink as you like. But honestly, the U17 matches might not mean much to me and Ronaldo now. Ronaldo agreed, yes, Kai's already 1.65 meters tall, only half a head shorter than me. Ronaldo's height has also increased, approaching 1.8 meters. With that kind of physique, he could even play in the U19 team. Trigueiro asked, what? You want to play U19? Then I'll move you to U19. But initially, I felt that U17 would be less physically demanding for you. You're at a stage where you're developing your skills, and it wouldn't be worth it if you were bedridden for a long time due to injuries. U17 and U19 are actually about the same for you guys, so I chose the safer option. Deng Kai nodded quickly, I think U17 is fine. If we're really talking about Ronaldo's ability, he could even play U21, but there's no need to increase the intensity so much all at once. Trigueiro looked at Deng Kai's bright eyes and smiled, but? Encouraged, Deng Kai boldly spoke up, but there's absolutely no innovation, it's just going to follow last season's old path, which isn't good for the future adaptability of youth players. Real Madrid's youth academy can produce players anywhere, but Barcelona's youth academy loses its appeal after La Masia. That's the point. I want to learn more about playing style from you, like possession football, possession football, possession football. Trigueiro took a sip of red wine, you've given me 3 choices. Should I thank you for your generosity? Deng Kai quickly refilled Trigueiro's glass, no need, but it would be even better if we could include some players who aren't as strong in our squad, making it more difficult for Ronaldo and me to lead the team. That way, even though we're playing U17, the difficulty is no less than playing U19. Trigueiro rolled his eyes, you're quite insightful. Young players probably can't understand your perspective. Focus on your own progress and development, don't compare yourself to others. After saying that, Trigueiro glanced at Ronaldo. Because Ronaldo and Deng Kai are 2 different extremes. Ronaldo is the kind of player who pays a lot of attention to comparing himself to others. This competitiveness can help him quickly reach his ceiling in an environment, but it also prevents him from breaking through the constraints of that environment. When he lacks stronger opponents, he loses the possibility of becoming stronger. Deng Kai, on the other hand, progresses step by step according to his own plan. No matter what his environment is like, his growth will not be greatly affected. So playing in the U17 team provides the same training for Deng Kai as playing in the U19 and U21 teams. But for Ronaldo, it's somewhat hindering his development. Deng Kai isn't a selfish kid. Why would he do this? Is he worried about Ronaldo getting injured during his physical development? Does he want to wait until Ronaldo's body, bones, and muscles are fully developed before quickly skipping the U17, U19, U21, and reserve teams? Trigueiro almost guessed the truth. Everyone enjoyed dinner. After dinner, Trigueiro didn't invite Ronaldo and Deng Kai to stay and watch TV, he said he had some work to do and politely saw them out. Cristiano Ronaldo, somewhat disgruntled, remarked on the way, Coach Trigueiro's TV is huge. A 36-inch super screen. I was thinking of watching Tokyo Mew Mew while I was at it. Deng Kai, puzzled, asked, don't you like Sailor Moon? Ronaldo replied, I've already watched it. Sigh, what a pity. Do you think Coach Trigueiro is kicking us out because he's worried about the electricity bill? What kind of work could he possibly have now? He's retired from the first team. Deng Kai scoffed, I thought a guy like you would prefer Evangelion. As for the electricity bill, Coach Trigueiro can afford it. He definitely has work to do. And, it was something Deng Kai had just assigned him. During his conversation with Trigueiro, Deng Kai had offered some basic ideas about team composition. Trigueiro, never treating Deng Kai like a child, had astutely grasped the deeper meaning behind his suggestion. As soon as the two left, Trigueiro dialed the number of Sporting Lisbon's U15 team coach. Hello, it's me. Tomorrow, have you Shaheo, Xiao Jiaoui, and Hao Junman from your team report to the U17 team. I know their abilities, you don't need to worry about that. The next day, Alcachat training base. When Yu Shiheo and the other 2 arrived at the U17 training ground, they were still somewhat incredulous. Even among Sporting Lisbon's U15 team, which won the double championship last year, only the top performers were promoted to the U17. What made these 3 so special? You're here. Trigura appeared first, the other young players still in the locker room. I'm a straightforward person. I know how to develop young players. I brought you to this team because I recognize your talent. You have the potential to become professional players. But to be honest, you still have some shortcomings in tactics and basic skills, which you should have honed in the U15. However, Deng Kai mentioned you to me, and he believes you can quickly adapt to the pace of the U17. And I also believe that under Deng Kai's leadership, you will deliver performances worthy of this level of competition. Trigura almost explicitly stated the reason why these three players were here. Deng Kai. And as Chinese kids, how could Yu Shihao and the other two not understand social etiquette? Kai is awesome. Kai is mighty. Then, the main group appeared. Most people didn't react to the addition of the three. No one could deny Deng Kai's success last season. Especially in the European U17 Championship, C dominated the entire match, even overshadowing Viana and Meireles, only slightly less so than Quaresma. Whereas Quaresma this season? In the first team. Deng Kai's success has given the club confidence in players of Asian descent, or more precisely, Chinese players. Yu Shihao and the other two are the club's trial run in China. But whether they will succeed or not remains to be seen, and their performance on the field will speak for itself. Judging from the first day of training, Deng Kai was just an exception. Including Wu Zidane. The basic skills of the four Chinese players were clearly inferior to those of the other players. However, they also showed unique abilities in certain areas. Chapter 159 Nepotism? Even in the U17 group, Wu Zidane's speed remains top tier, even surpassing Cristiano Ronaldo's speed this year, a stark contrast to last year. Brother Dong, what did you do this summer? Ronaldo's pronunciation wasn't always accurate. Pulling yaks, Wu Zidane replied honestly. He trained his explosiveness intensively that summer, employing traditional nomadic methods, wrestling with yaks and playing with horses. Deng Kai, upon hearing about this training method, couldn't help but marvel at Wu Zidane's financial resources. After all, yaks and horses are expensive there, making training partners extremely costly. Yu Shihao, the Inzaghi from Myanmar, is also quite fast, approaching top-tier speed, and considered a speedster among his peers. He also has excellent positioning instincts and enjoys venturing into the penalty area. While he lacks the tall and imposing physique and is relatively short, his agility is exceptional, making him a significant threat when not under heavy physical pressure. Hao Junmin's speed is slightly slower than Yu Shihao's, placing him in the standard second tier. But his dribbling skills were the best among them, and his passing and shooting were quite reliable. Xiao Jiawei's footwork was the worst, not only because he was a center-back, but also because he was previously a basketball player. But basketball was both his weakness and his strength. His body coordination, instantaneous reaction, and hand-pulling movements were all excellent. This explains why his tackling ability was so outstanding. After a day of training, Yu Shihao and the other two were planning to pack up and go back to their dorms. They found that Deng Kai and Cristiano Ronaldo seemed not to have heard the get-out-of-class bell ring. Isn't get-out-of-class over? Yu Shihao asked. Wu Zidane grinned. Those two are famous training fanatics at this base. The club even changed the training ground's closing time by 3 hours because of them. The old man who manages the stadium used to be furious with Kai Xiao at first. But then Kai Xiao and Luo Zhe made a name for themselves, and fans and reporters often bribed the old man, making him a fortune, so he stopped complaining. Even we benefit from Kai Xiao's success. Otherwise, why do you think Asian players aren't discriminated against here? Is it because there's no discrimination against Asians here? You'll understand after living here for a while. Discrimination against Asians is pretty prevalent throughout Europe. But in Lisbon, things have really improved a lot in the past year. It's not because of our friendly attitude, but because of Kai Xiao's assists, goals, and trophies in the league, the UEFA Youth League, and the UEFA U16 Championship. Yu Shihao and the others hadn't yet expressed much emotion, but just hearing about it was enough to shock them. Hao Jack, Wei Zhe, Min, let's play football. Let's practice our positioning? Deng Kai invited from afar. Yu Shihao and the others immediately ran over. Train. To achieve results on the field, you have to train hard off the field. Train until you drop, train like there's no tomorrow. On the field, 4 Chinese teenagers, 1 of Lisbon descent and 1 Madeira youth, run freely. For 10 consecutive days, they trained from dawn till dusk, becoming a spectacle on the training ground. Some people think it's just a show. If training were effective, what would be the point of talent? Some people, no matter how much they train, will never succeed. Deng Kai has no interest in refuting this. If any nation can break through the talent barrier and achieve the impossible through hard work, it is the Chinese nation. Trigura returns to coach youth team. Is he blindly believes in young Chinese players? Are the 4 Chinese players in Sporting Lisbon's U17 team really worthy? Apart from Wu Zedong, the other 3 are simply unqualified. Deng Kai practices nepotism, demanding the team accept Yu Shihao and others. Young age, already a football tyrant? Sporting Lisbon's first team wins 3 consecutive warm-up matches. Augusto, we're on the right track. Maxa, the unsung hero behind Lisbon's first team's triumphant return, the team doesn't have, and doesn't need, complicated tactics. Giving the ball to the best players is the best tactic. Quaresma and Jardel deserve more possession. Jardel, I don't feel any problems integrating into Sporting Lisbon. Augusto values me highly, and I like that feeling. Maxa is absolutely talented, his understanding of tactics runs deep. Quaresma, Maxa doesn't micromanage your every move like a parent, he's more like a master, only appearing when you need him. Recently, with the new season approaching, there's been a surge in team-related news. The youth team's popularity is certainly not as high as the first team's. Some of these interviews are genuine, but some are orchestrated by the club president and new coach for publicity. Quaresma's interview is particularly interesting. He said Maxa only appears when he needs him. Later, when a reporter asked Quaresma, when do you need him? Quaresma replied, not yet. In other words, Maxa never appears. No wonder Quaresma likes Maximo so much. Maximo is the only tactical coach who doesn't stop Quaresma from making pointless technical dribbling displays on the field. Jardel also likes Maximo because Maximo emphasizes letting Jardel handle the ball. These 2 key players are beneficiaries of Maximo's laissez-faire tactics. And they're both incredibly famous, their feelings outweighing those of everyone else on the team. At a fan restaurant, Deng Kai brings Ronaldo, Wu Zedong, Yu Shihao, and others for a lavish meal. Deng Kai is paying. Otherwise, how do you think he got the nickname Young Master Kai? Today, everyone's expenses are on me, Young Master Kai. Ronaldo never hesitates to spend Deng Kai's money because he knows how profitable Deng Kai's autographed football shop is. Guardiola is like a madman, constantly sending footballs to Deng Kai. Ronaldo really suspects that Deng Kai has some kind of leverage over Guardiola. However, the real reason was that, at Duncan's suggestion, Guardiola underwent a thorough medical examination and consulted a sports medicine specialist to plan his career. The examination and planning revealed significant injury risks. His physical abilities were declining earlier than he had anticipated. If he didn't reduce his running, he was highly likely to get injured later. This gave Guardiola a real scare, because Van Gaal's tactics demanded a high level of running from the midfielders and forwards. Without preparation, Guardiola could easily overexert himself. Of course, knowing this wasn't entirely a good thing, because now Guardiola had to figure out how to explain to Van Gaal why his running was consistently inadequate. Brazil and Portugal double dose tonight. Chapter 160. I heard Argentinians love to reserve seats. This Copa America qualifier is crucial for Argentina to secure their place in the finals. It's a key match, okay, we can see. Inside the restaurant, a huge screen was broadcasting a Copa America qualifier match, Argentina versus Colombia. It was a highly anticipated game. Many fans, wearing Argentina jerseys, had come to the restaurant to dine and watch the game. Deng Kai had reserved a table in advance, the best one for the viewing experience. But now, that table was filled with a group of Argentinians wearing blue and white stripes. They looked like tourists. Hello, this table seems to be ours, are you sitting in the wrong place? Deng Kai tried to communicate with them in fluent Spanish. Huh? One of the female fans came over to check. Deng Kai showed his reservation information. Because watching the game meant considering the quality of the seats, Deng Kai had specifically reserved the best one in advance, paying an extra €20 for it. The prices varied depending on the table. I don't know what happened either. Maybe you can go to another table. After confirming that their table did indeed belong to Deng Kai, the female fan lost the will to continue the conversation. She turned to look at the big screen, as if that would make her seem less like someone who had taken someone else's seat. She might not have known the situation at first, but her inaction after learning it made her essentially no different from those in her group who had actively requested to occupy other people's seats. Birds of a feather. So Deng Kai approached someone in the group who seemed to have some influence. "Excuse me, how did you get to this table? This is my reserved table, you might be sitting in the wrong place." Deng Kai interrupted the Argentinians' cheerful atmosphere. One of the burly Argentinians approached. "Hey kid, I don't care if this is your seat or not, but since we're sitting here, we're not giving up our seats. If you want to eat or watch the game, you can go outside, find another seat, understand?" Deng Kai's face darkened, but he maintained his last shred of politeness. "I know you're Argentinians, and we're here to watch Argentina's qualifiers. We all support Maradona, and even though he's retired, we'd still like to watch Argentina play and have a meal." The burly Argentinian interrupted Deng Kai. "I told you, that's impossible. We won't give up our seats, no matter who you're a fan of. This place now belongs to the Argentinians." Wow! The Argentinians cheered as the match had officially begun. They celebrated and cheered, creating a great atmosphere. Since this was a fan restaurant, such celebrations were normal, and the surrounding noise was quite loud, so others didn't immediately realize that Deng Kai was arguing with this group about seating. They might have thought they were just friends exchanging pleasantries. Damn it! This is outrageous. Yu Shihao witnessed everything. "I've said it before, Asians are actually very common in Europe and America," Wu Zedong said. "But they're Argentinians. Isn't Argentina in South America?" Hao Junman asked, puzzled. "They speak Spanish, and the country is almost entirely white. Argentinians have always considered themselves European," Xiao Jiaoyi said. "I like Maradona, so I don't understand his dark history. He actually shot at Argentinian reporters and fans. But now, I suddenly understand him a little. If this is the kind of quality Argentinians have, even if I made it into the national team, I would burn my jersey and announce my retirement. It's shameful to play for them, they're terrible. Sigh, let's go, let's just accept our bad luck. I'll never like Argentinians again in my life." Yu Shihao prepared to step forward and persuade Deng Kai to leave, lest Deng Kai lose face. After all, Deng Kai didn't seem to want to make a scene. Except for being a bit obsessive-compulsive during training, Deng Kai was very easy to talk to and had a very gentle personality. Cristiano Ronaldo. Flip the table. The gentle Deng Kai directly gave the order. Crash. Cristiano Ronaldo dashed forward and overturned the table. Things shattered everywhere. The cheering Argentinians, who hadn't heard Deng Kai's request to change seats, finally regained their senses, their faces contorted with rage. "Fuck you." The burly Argentinian man negotiating with Deng Kai threw a punch. But the next moment, a bottle smashed into his head. The other man had preemptively assumed a fighting stance. Deng Kai acted in self-defense. This fight was worth it. Damn it. Get them. Deng Kai shouted, followed by a flying kick, charging into the crowd. Yu Shihao and the others might not know Deng Kai, but Cristiano Ronaldo certainly did. They were the tough guys who had taken down a bunch of football bullies under the setting sun. After overturning the table, Cristiano Ronaldo was ready. Seeing someone throwing a punch at him, he cleared a path with a kick, then unleashed his fists, wreaking havoc among the Argentinians. Don't ask why, he just always felt a little uneasy around Argentinians. Fuck it. Twinglio boxing champion Wu Zedong already had some gangsters before coming to Portugal, and the scene directly activated the wild grassland blood within him. His gray muscles didn't look particularly muscular, but they were as hard as cement. Xiao Jiaoyi was strong and muscular, a little taller than Ronaldo, and his physical attributes were among the best in the entire Sporting Lisbon U17 team. He took down two people in an instant, even though he was holding back. Hao Junmin and Yu Shihao stood by, watching Deng Kai's movements closely, and would rush over to push away anyone who tried to hit Deng Kai. Professional players, even if they don't look muscular, are definitely not weak in combat. Their actions on the field could easily leave an ordinary person bedridden for a month or two. By the time all the restaurant staff arrived, the battle was over. What are you doing? Daring to cause trouble here, X, call the police, go call the police right now, wait. The restaurant manager was no ordinary person either. He originally intended to handle the situation forcefully, but he recognized Deng Kai and Ronaldo. Isn't this the hero of Portugal's U16 European Championship victory? The Sporting Lisbon duo. Cristiano Ronaldo, Kai, you guys. The manager was momentarily stunned. Deng Kai had Xiao Jiaoyi and the others turn the table over again, picked up a chair and sat down, as if nothing had happened. I booked this table in advance, but when I arrived I found it was already taken. What's wrong with your restaurant? Can you even stay open? If you don't offer this service, you can just say so, and you shouldn't charge for it. I need an explanation for this table. Deng Kai turned the tables, but the manager was genuinely stunned. This was indeed a service oversight on their part. Everyone wants good seats. Otherwise they wouldn't make them so expensive. Local fans knew this, but the Argentinians who came to visit obviously didn't. More and more onlookers gathered around. Many recognized Deng Kai and his group. Some even took out their cameras to take pictures or videos. Deng Kai didn't try to hide anything, he just sat down in the chair, the entire table occupied by him alone. The table was empty, but underneath it was a mess, with 6 or 7 Argentinians lying there. I'm not trying to compete with anyone or steal anything. I'm doing this for one purpose only, to tell the Argentinians that you can't take what belongs to the Chinese. If you do, you'll have to give it back. Bang! Deng Kai slammed his fist on the table. Serve the food. The manager was stunned. Wu Zedong, standing behind Deng Kai, nodded inwardly. With this kind of attitude, who would believe that young Master Kai hadn't been involved in the underworld before? This guy is practically a Deng Kai Brando. What are you standing there for? Aren't you doing business? Wu Zedong knew that the big boss never repeated himself. The manager finally reacted and immediately signaled his waiters to serve the food. The others helped the Argentinians up from the ground. P.S. Although Ji-kun is a Messi fan, and Teozi admires Ronaldo, these two aren't opposed. Teozi often watches Ji-kun's videos and gives him a like, comment, and share. These Argentinians were really too much, their manners were appalling. Teozi won't be able to sleep soundly until they're thoroughly punished. Peach wrote this chapter with only one purpose, to tell Argentinians that you can't steal what belongs to the Chinese. If you do, you have to give it back. P.S. Content is free. Chapter 161 Deng Kai is not that kind of person. I'm going to sue you. We're going to call the police. The burly Argentine man seemed somewhat unwilling to give up, but he perked up again when someone tried to pull him away. As soon as they let go, he fell silent again, just like the little dog in the funny video. I'm truly sorry for ruining your table of food, but you've also dirted mine. Deng Kai didn't even lift his eyelids. Cristiano Ronaldo, Xiao Jiaoyi, Wu Zedong, Yu Shihao, and Hao Junman stood beside him, creating a scene reminiscent of a gangster movie. As for calling the police, I don't care. This restaurant has CCTV footage, everything is clearly recorded. Who started it is crystal clear. If there are any follow-ups, I will have my lawyer handle them. By the way, my name is Deng Kai, a player for Sporting Lisbon. I don't want to have a bad impression of Argentinians, but I'm sorry to say that the Argentinians I've encountered are indeed like this. As Argentinians, you represent the image of the entire country when you're abroad. You've successfully tarnished your country's reputation. Until I meet new, friendly Argentinians, I'll be wary of your entire country. Don't blame me for generalizing, and don't make me reflect. You're the ones who caused this problem. It's Argentina, not myself, that should be seeking my forgiveness. Whether in Portugal or China, I welcome you as a guest. If you come to cause trouble, I'll play along. Clap. Applause. The fans in the restaurant applauded continuously. Not because Deng Kai was a player, but because what he said was truly insightful. Argentine fans' poor behavior at home was one thing, but acting like this abroad was unacceptable. Someone had to teach them a lesson. Click. A reporter pressed the shutter, capturing a precious photograph. In the photo, Deng Kai sat alone at a table, surrounded by his 5-star players. Opposite him was a group of bruised and timid Argentinians. Like a world-famous painting. Caesar's gotten arrogant? Deng Kai beats up Argentine fans in a restaurant. He doesn't deserve to be a player. The Boer newspaper always knew how to smear Deng Kai. They published a headline immediately. That world-famous painting was taken by their reporter. The reporter arrived a little late and didn't know the specifics, but he knew that Deng Kai had gotten into a fight. That was enough. Players are, after all, semi-public figures, and getting into a fight with an ordinary person, regardless of the facts, is always wrong. But this time, the Boer newspaper made a huge mistake. Several other authoritative Portuguese media outlets subsequently sided with Deng Kai. Headlines included, Argentinians fight over seats, Sporting Lisbon star Deng Kai refuses. Fighting, Ronaldo angered by Deng Kai, Chinese stars engage in brawl. Do you support Deng Kai's actions, and never forget the original intention? Chinese rising star Deng Kai angrily rebukes Argentinians, "You can't take what's Chinese from us." The report, published in Record, included an interview with an eyewitness who provided a more detailed account of the incident. Those seats were reserved. I wanted to sit there too, since it's the best place to watch the game, but I didn't. I knew I wasn't the one who made the reservation, and I couldn't break the rules. That would be robbery. The Argentinians not only occupied the reserved tables and seats, but they also started singing and dancing. While we fans cheered, they were too loud and oblivious to others, greatly disturbing everyone. Deng Kai first tried to communicate with them. "Yes, I was at the next table, I heard it very clearly." They checked Deng Kai's reservation, and after confirming the seat belonged to him, they stopped talking to him, as if they hadn't checked at all. Give up? Of course not. They started singing and dancing again, showing no intention of giving up their seat for Deng Kai. If I remember correctly, they cursed at Deng Kai, telling him to get out, and so on. Ronaldo was furious. He wouldn't allow anyone to talk about his good friend like that. He flipped the table, and frankly, I think he had the right to do so because it was their spot. He only needs to be accountable to the restaurant, not to the Argentinians. The Argentinians wanted to hit Ronaldo, they did, and then Deng Kai and Ronaldo fought back in self-defense. Then the Chinese F4 rushed in. The Argentinians lost quickly, they're just big guys. The incident escalated, and the police intervened. However, after reviewing the restaurant's CCTV footage, Lisbon police determined that Deng Kai and his group were not at fault. Subsequently, Lisbon authorities released the results of their investigation, making all conversations and related videos public to prevent the incident from escalating into an international event. The Chinese embassy in Portugal issued a statement, expressing concern for the mental and physical well-being of the young Chinese players and condemning the Argentinian side's inappropriate behavior. The Argentinian embassy was stunned. Are the Chinese really this arrogant now? They hit our people and expect an apology? Perhaps 20 years from now we'll pay attention to you. After all, China will be a superpower by then, with its international standing growing daily. But right now, haha, I can't hear you. The Argentinians are playing dead, trying to drag this out. But they didn't expect the story to spread so quickly throughout Europe. Europe has its share of football hooligans, but its football culture runs even deeper. Who doesn't hate people who hog in seats? Especially those fans who bought €100 tickets but insist on sitting in seats costing €300. Italian newspapers like La Repubblica and Tuttosport, English newspapers like Sky Sports, The Times, and Manchester Evening News, German newspapers like Kicker and Bild, French newspapers like France Football, and Spanish newspapers like Marca and AS all reprinted the news and commented on the incident. The vast majority supported Deng Kai. The Sun took a clear stance, stating, "We will not use any Argentine models until Argentina apologizes to Deng Kai. We are not targeting anyone or discriminating against anyone, we simply do not use controversial individuals." The Sun subsequently published photos of Hathaway promoting her film in North America. The Sun has already established a deep partnership with the Los Angeles Daily News, and both sides were very satisfied with the previous paparazzi photos. Gabi, a Spanish youth team player who had previously clashed with Deng Kai, was asked by reporters for his opinion on the matter during an open training session. Gabi, "Deng Kai is definitely not a good player in my eyes, I hate him. Because he always manages to win in the end, he embarrasses me, makes me make mistakes. But no matter what, this is on the pitch. And he never achieves this through intentional actions to injure others, he always stays within the rules. Sometimes I have to admit that this is actually a kind of football wisdom. His playing style is unpleasant, but he's clearly not a pitch thug. And on the pitch, that was already his most aggressive moment, so I think he handled this situation well enough. I guarantee very few people have the patience to communicate for that long, many would have already started fighting." Similarly, Iniesta, who played against Deng Kai, also gave an interview. "Deng Kai's tackle on me ruined my chance to save Spain, but even in that situation, he still didn't stop me with scissor tackles, exposed studs, or other dangerous methods. Although it sounds strange, the tackle that brought me down was really gentle." Chapter 162 Deng Kai, you've shown your true colors. Guardiola, I've been planning to open a restaurant, and I think the restaurant itself made a huge mistake in this whole affair. I can't be angry with all Argentinians because of this, but those Argentinians alone, they're really awful. I really appreciate what Deng Kai said. It gave me a new understanding of China. Beckham, who had been badly let down by Argentine star Simeone, finally found an outlet for his frustration, complaining to the media, "Of course I don't hate all Argentinians, but I will never forgive Simeone in my life." Those Argentinians who bullied Deng Kai are just as vulgar and despicable as Simeone, but the only difference is that they received their due punishment, while Simeone didn't. Beckham's treble victory transformed him overnight from England's villain back into a darling. The English had long hated the Argentinians because of that red card in the World Cup. Coupled with existing international disputes between the two sides, England practically sided with Deng Kai. Deng Kai even felt that even if you had initiated the bullying of the Argentinians this time, the English media would unanimously support him. Under this pressure, the incident was poised to escalate and spread throughout Europe. At least in England, fans are already demanding the FA boycott Argentine players. They want all the players to sit on the pitch before the match, paying homage to Deng Kai's seated posture in the video, as a way to express support for Deng Kai and resistance to racial discrimination. The English love this kind of thing. They can escalate anything to the level of discrimination. Meanwhile, in mainland China, there's unanimous support for Deng Kai. They've even collectively referred to Ronaldo, Wu Zedong, and 3 others as Deng Kai and his 5 tiger generals. The phrase "What's Chinese, the Argentinians can't take away" has ignited the passion of countless young men. Sports Weekly provided an in-depth account of the incident. However, their competitor, football, while seemingly supporting Deng Kai, also raised concerns about whether this action would damage the image of the Chinese people, prompting some fans to reflect. But before they could reach a conclusion, Argentina had already backed down. Due to the discussions in mainstream European countries, Argentina reluctantly issued a public apology through its embassies in Portugal and Spain, offering to compensate Deng Kai for the meal he ordered that day and for emotional distress. How to put it, this amount is somewhat disgusting. Because everyone knows it's not a lot of money. If Deng Kai doesn't want it, it means he's not accepting Argentina's apology, that he lacks a sense of the bigger picture, and that this matter has nothing to do with Argentina. If Deng Kai does want it, then some people will definitely say things like, "You want this little bit of money? You made such a big deal out of it, were you just trying to extort money from the Argentinians?" Don't ask why such brainless people would say such things. Just search Argentina taking seats and look at the comments section, and you'll find that reality is indeed surreal. There are far more brainless people than we imagine. However, Deng Kai immediately gave an interview to Record, stating clearly, "As I said before, this group of people has given me a bad impression of all Argentina. But now that the Argentine government has apologized to me, I naturally won't hold any other opinions about Argentinians. However, those who clashed with me and took my seat never said a single word of apology to me from beginning to end. I may not be wealthy, but my principles don't allow me to accept financial compensation from others. I will donate all the money Argentina gives me to the Deng Kai Children's Football Foundation. But I still insist on getting an apology from someone who truly deserves to apologize to me." Deng Kai's actions received widespread praise. He was friendly while maintaining his principles. But some Argentine media outlets found a key point. Argentine newspaper Clarín, one of the most authoritative in the country, criticized Deng Kai, stating, "He's only after money. Is the so-called donation really a donation? No. That Deng Kai Children's Football Foundation was founded by Deng Kai himself. His name speaks for itself. Deng Kai wants that money, he's just using a different method." Deng Kai was immediately labeled a money grubber in Argentina. Some European media also joined in the mockery, believing his public image had finally collapsed. In response, Deng Kai addressed the issue directly to numerous reporters during the team's open training day. Deng Kai, "Yes, I established that foundation. It's not a large sum, but it represents my love for football. My prize money from winning the UEFA Youth League and the UEFA U16 Championship is in there. I hope it can also help more young people who love football. There's something I wasn't planning to say, but the slander against me by the Argentine media chilled me to the bone. In fact, the first person I sponsored after establishing that foundation was an Argentinian. A young Argentine player. He was a fan of mine. He left a message on Sporting Lisbon's official website. I saw it and learned about his difficulties. That was one of the initial reasons I established that foundation. But now, I don't know if I can still be so passionate about charitable causes in Argentina. All I can guarantee now is that I will continue to help that young Argentine player, because he is innocent, but that's all I can guarantee. I can no longer extend kindness to other Argentinians. Boom. It exploded. This interview with Deng Kai completely blew up. Because no one expected such a dramatic turn of events. If what Deng Kai said is true, then Argentina is truly inhuman. So, is what he said true or false? European media outlets, each using their own investigative methods, quickly ascertained the whereabouts of the funds. It was confirmed that the Deng Kai Children's Football Foundation had indeed transferred money to an account in Argentina. And this occurred a month before Deng Kai's conflict with the Argentinians. This is entirely different from donating money after the incident. However, due to confidentiality principles, the bank would not disclose the recipient's identity. This matter caused a great stir, with everyone wanting to know who Deng Kai had funded. Some media outlets acted out of a sense of rigor, while others found the whole affair suspicious. Argentine newspaper Clarín commented, "Deng Kai has never been to Argentina and doesn't know any Argentinians. Why would he send money to Argentinians for no reason? Could it be the account of a Chinese relative working in Argentina? We all know that Kai is of Chinese descent, and many of his relatives are Chinese, and Chinese people work all over the world. Going through the Football Foundation's channels might be to enjoy some tax breaks. Yes, Deng Kai is delaying providing the recipient's information because he's worried about being discovered and suspected of tax evasion, which would be a huge problem for him. As for his claim that they were his fans, and that they met through comments on Sporting Lisbon's official website, I just laugh. It's common knowledge that star players never read fan comments. No star player takes their fans seriously. They only talk the talk. Besides, Deng Kai's skills aren't good. There are at least 8,000 players in Argentina who are better than him. Who does he think he is? At least, I don't believe someone used to watching Maradona's performances would find his crab-like maneuvers appealing. To refute Deng Kai's claims, Clarín specifically searched for videos of Argentine football prodigies from recent years. Among them, a young player named Lionel Messi was featured on their front page, receiving extensive praise and lavish attention. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 Innocent Plum Blossom, Taoist Luo Green Tea Kai. The young player in the video possessed unparalleled ball control and agile dribbling, resembling a miniature Maradona. Clarín newspaper wrote, "This is one of Argentina's most talented young players, 2 years younger than Deng Kai, but Deng Kai will never catch up to his ball control." Did Deng Kai say he received an offer from Barcelona's La Masia Youth Academy? That's just what he said. Who knows if it's true? But this Messi is already being scouted by La Masia in Argentina. So, back to the question, Deng Kai, who exactly is the Argentine player you're sponsoring? Could it be your great-uncle's distant cousin's brother working in Argentina? Clarín went on a rampage. They must have consulted with Chinese people. They know the situation in mainland China all too well. The phrase working abroad perfectly encapsulates the current state of affairs in China. Terms like great-uncle further highlight the local characteristics. This time, Deng Kai faced further scrutiny. Meanwhile, highlights of Messi's performance circulated throughout Europe. Deng Kai is 2 years older than Messi, and his classic goals could even compete for the Puskas Award. Even if Deng Kai were to play for a few more years, it would indeed be difficult for him to reach Messi's level. Even his good friend, Cristiano Ronaldo, whose talent surpassed that of Portugal's young players born in 1984, 1985, and 1986, couldn't match Messi's ball control. This matter eventually escalated to the point where Ronaldo was even a little worried for Deng Kai. This Messi may look unremarkable, and he's quite short, but his ball control is unparalleled, something you can't compare to, Ronaldo subtly reminded Deng Kai, implying that the foundation might be used for tax avoidance, and he should start thinking about it. Deng Kai was unimpressed. "What? You mean you can compare?" Ronaldo rambled on, finally managing to say, "Ball control isn't everything, he can't score as many goals as I do." Deng Kai nodded, "That's true, you each have your strengths." Ronaldo looked puzzled. "Why do you seem to know us so well?" "I was just saying, and you're actually comparing him to me?" With a new season approaching, For the first time in the history of Portuguese and Argentine football, the focus was on a youth academy player. Even the major event of Simeo's €20 million transfer, whether he can adapt and integrate smoothly into Barcelona, has temporarily faded from public attention. August 19. 2 days before Sporting Lisbon U17's first match of the new season, Deng Kai posted a video on his personal social media platform. It was a highlight reel of Messi published by Clarin. He captioned it, "Incredible, so this is Messi." To say something Messi's father might not like to hear, isn't Messi really Maradona's son? He's so talented, I have no doubt he'll become one of the world's top players in the future. This is the most terrifying dribbling and ball control in the world. Go Messi, strive to become a better player. I only have one piece of advice for you, and that is to maintain your humility, because this is a virtue almost extinct among Argentinians. If one day you're unhappy playing in this country, the Portuguese and Chinese national teams welcome you. Many people felt Deng Kai's post was somewhat inexplicable. What right does he have to give Messi advice? Are they even that close? The newspaper Clarin published a Messi video to prove Deng Kai's mediocrity, thus demonstrating that the fans Deng Kai mentioned simply didn't exist. This further argued that Deng Kai's foundation was merely for financial gain and tax evasion. They then condemned Deng Kai to moral and legal condemnation. Finally, they generalized, saying that since Deng Kai was condemned, all his actions were wrong. Consequently, those Argentinians who had conflicts with Deng Kai were righteous. Seat hogging is righteous. Those whose seats were taken deserved. Isn't that outrageous? With such seemingly logical arguments, you have to admit the Argentinians are quite skilled. Even if it's robber logic, many people will fall for it, or have already fallen for it. Domestically, while most Argentinian fans can view this issue rationally and support Deng Kai's rights, a small minority of long-suffering Argentinians are frantically whitewashing those who took seats, lavishly praising Argentina, and angrily accusing Deng Kai of violating laws and regulations and damaging the image of Chinese people on the world stage. Even in Europe, many people see Deng Kai's comments about Messi as a sign of weakness. He chickened out. He was scared. So Clarin pressed its advantage. You think you can distract us with a few nice words? Now, tell me, who is that fan of yours, that young Argentine player you're talking about? Or does he not even exist? The next morning, Deng Kai's social media accounts were buzzing. Messi was looking for him. Messi, I'm sorry I caused you trouble. Deng Kai, it's okay, it's not your fault. Messi, I don't want people to misunderstand you like that. Deng Kai, I'm actually okay, but what they said about my hometown hurt me. China is a beautiful place, you'll like it when you go. The people there are hardworking and kind. The Argentine media can slander me, but they shouldn't say that about them. Hard work is never wrong, and working away from home shouldn't be ridiculed. Many places were built with our help. Chinese people are a guarantee of quality. I'm going to put on some eye drops. I cried all night, and my vision is a little blurry today. Messi, Kai? Are you alright? Kai? I'm going to find them. You wait, I'll definitely make things clear with them. Half an hour later. Deng Kai, I'm back. Messi? Are you still there? Don't go and say that. It's not good for your career. They'll blame you. After Deng Kai pressed enter, Ronaldo shook his head and said with disdain, to be fair, you're being despicable. Deng Kai looked at Ronaldo, meaning, go on, tell me more. You were clearly in front of the computer the whole time, you saw what he said, but you waited half an hour before replying, acting like you didn't see what he typed. Ronaldo's eyes lit up. I know Maxi is a jerk, but compared to you, Maxi is just a puppy, and you're the real giant dog. Also, you do need eye drops, but wasn't it because you stayed up late last night texting Hathaway? Is that Messi's fault? Look how you tricked him. You're so despicable. Deng Kai shrugged, sorry, where I'm from, that's not called despicable, that's called being a green TBTCH. Besides, seeing how much you care about Messi makes me really happy, and I hope you'll see him that way in the future. Ronaldo frowned, why not? He seems very kind. I think we could become friends, provided his football taste is a bit better and he becomes my fan, instead of liking someone like you who can't even ride a bicycle. Deng Kai shook his head. Ronaldo, you probably don't know. For a long time to come, you'll be chasing after this little fan of mine. If it weren't for the 3 consecutive Champions League titles, you really would have been outshone by Zixi. That noon, a young player approached a reporter from the Financial World Daily to spill the beans. The reporter initially ignored him until the young player revealed he was the player sponsored by Deng Kai. Looking at the boy and then at the video footage of the Argentine football prodigy downloaded to his phone, the reporter was momentarily stunned. He trembled. He knew he was in luck. Big news. This was the biggest bombshell about Argentina recently. I stayed up too late yesterday and overslept today. However, after Portugal achieved the minimum goal set by Peach will not watch matches during off-peak hours for the next few days and will try to restore the update schedule to normal. Seeing many readers mentioning pacing issues, Peach has revised the outline. This season will be accelerated, with plenty of highlights, ensuring no one gets bored. Let's go. Chapter 164 Go Become Their King. The Financial Times reporter could almost declare at that moment, Deng Kai had won. He had defeated Clarín. Although publishing this news would damage Argentina's reputation as a competitor, Financial Times could seize the opportunity to attack Clarín and gain ground. This was a golden opportunity to eliminate their old rival. At worst, they could apologize to Deng Kai on behalf of the nation afterward. Having secured such a huge benefit in a dignified manner, they even wanted to thank Deng Kai. Thus, the most explosive news in Argentine football this year was born. I am Lionel Messi, the first recipient of the Deng Kai Children's Football Foundation. Boom. A thunderbolt. Argentine football was stunned. The news quickly spread to European football, with major media outlets vying to report it. This was even more dramatic than the release of the super IP film Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace in North America before this summer. It was him. The fan sponsored by Deng Kai is actually the most football-savvy young Argentine player in history. The fan is stronger than the idol. Messi admits he was sponsored by Deng Kai, enjoys watching him play, and is moved by his spirit. Super oddball. Argentine media uses players questioned by Deng Kai to exactly become players sponsored by Deng Kai, the ultimate slap in the face. Messi reveals his social media account. He's a die-hard fan of Sporting Lisbon player Deng Kai. Why would Deng Kai prefer to be questioned by the world rather than reveal Messi's name? The reason behind it is heartwarming: growth hormone deficiency. Messi reveals his illness to help his idol Deng Kai, like idol, like fan. Deng Kai endured insults and questions to prevent Messi's growth hormone deficiency from being exposed, and Messi endured his own football career to clear Deng Kai's name. What is growth hormone deficiency? Messi's future height may be less than 1.6 meters, exorbitant treatment costs. Messi's family couldn't afford them, and the club chose to give up, but Deng Kai from thousands of miles away sends life-saving money. Messi's father. I would rather Messi's father was really Maradona, because then we wouldn't have to worry about his medical expenses. At that time, we had given up on treatment, but Deng Kai's relief helped us. Deng Kai, Messi is indeed a genius, but I hope Clarín can help him resolve his predicament before using him to attack me. After Clarin's news came out, so many people praised Messi, but who really cares about him? Is this how you Argentinians treat your heroes? This kind of thing would never happen in Portugal or China. KO. Clarin's entire theory was based on the premise that Deng Kai didn't sponsor Argentine players and that Messi was far superior to Deng Kai. Now, Messi has overturned both points. El Financiero, as another voice within Argentina, has begun to reflect, to set things right. They represented the Argentinian perspective and offered Deng Kai their sincerest apologies. They also donated €20,000 each to the Deng Kai Children's Football Foundation and to Messi personally. They, on behalf of the nation, judged those Argentinians who initially tried to take Deng Kai's place, ruining their reputations. It is reported that those who fought over seats were even beaten with sacks over their heads more than once in their hometowns because they brought shame to Argentina. Some of them even received death threats. Although the police later proved it was just a joke, but it was enough to demonstrate the harshness of their living conditions. Their lives may have been negatively changed because of this incident. The newspaper Clarín lost its credibility domestically, with its sales plummeting by half, for 3 consecutive months. A huge conflict triggered by a fight over seats brought a major international newspaper to the brink of bankruptcy. It also cemented the image of Argentinians as unreasonable and uncivilized in Europe and Asia. The losses were devastating. Initially, some in Argentina criticized Messi, believing his actions emboldened outsiders. However, after Maradona stated that Messi did the right thing and seeing Messi is like seeing my younger self, the public relations crisis surrounding Messi was resolved. However, a very real problem arose. Because of his actions, His dwarfism became known to the entire world. Even if he takes growth hormone, theoretically he can only grow to a maximum height of 1.7 meters. His football career has been overshadowed. Before playing in the first match of the new season, Deng Kai sent Messi a message to encourage him. "It's okay, your talent attracts many clubs. You can try your luck at Barcelona next year." Messi: "I don't like Barcelona." Deng Kai: "Messi, their fans always say they don't welcome dwarfs." Deng Kai: "Then go conquer them and become their king." Messi: "Like you, become the Caesar of those who doubt you." Deng Kai: "Go go go." Goal. Unbelievable. Ronaldo completes a hat-trick. After skipping to the U17 level, Ronaldo is still very adaptable. No, he doesn't need to adapt, he directly became the king of this level. Ronaldo also became the first player in Sporting Lisbon's U17 team to score a hat-trick in his first official match. Deng Kai also provided 2 assists. They completely overwhelmed their opponents. Some people previously said that the addition of Chinese players would greatly weaken Sporting Lisbon's U17 strength, but now it seems that it has had no impact whatsoever. Wu Zidane seems very comfortable in the right-winger position. Coach Trigura is having the new players warm up. It seems he's preparing to bring on a few players to get more people used to the game. The players warming up are Yu Shihao, Hao Jinmin, and Xiao Jiaoyi from China. We might very well witness 4 Chinese players plus 1 person of Chinese descent appearing on the Portuguese football field today. After Ronaldo scored, Deng Kai went over to celebrate with him. But Ronaldo was in a very strange state today. He refused Deng Kai's celebration. "Are you targeting me?" Deng Kai saw Ronaldo high-fiving with his other teammates. "Yes." Ronaldo didn't deny it. "Why? Are you on your period?" Deng Kai expressed his incomprehension. "Your conversation with Messi disgusted me." Ronaldo's expression was perfectly controlled, and he said arrogantly, "So now Messi is your best friend, right? Go celebrate with him." PFFT. Deng Kai laughed. "No way, Ronaldo, are you that insecure? You're my comrade in arms, while he's just my sister. Oops, he's my fan, it's a completely different relationship." Chapter 165 Stadium Incident, The Sun Takes Action. "We've fought together before." "Really?" Ronaldo was skeptical. "Of course it's true. Go Ronaldo." Deng Kai cheered Ronaldo on. "Go to hell. You only said go for it to Messi, you lied to me." Ronaldo was furious. "Holy crap. You peeked at my chat history?" Deng Kai was shocked. "How did you know my social media passwords?" Ronaldo grinned, revealing his white teeth. "It's just Hathaway's birthday, I figured it out in no time." "You still dare to say you and Hathaway aren't having an affair? But don't worry, I only looked at your chat history with Messi, not with Hathaway. After all, who knows what kind of photos you two would send each other? I have absolutely no interest in your bodies, don't offend my eyes." Deng Kai rushed at Ronaldo, jumped on his back, and started punching him. He and Hathaway were truly innocent. At most, they'd exchange selfies or something. How could they possibly send those kinds of photos? Even assuming they did send those private photos, they would have deleted them immediately afterward, not left in the chat history. Wait? Used? Shouldn't it be viewed? This, applause, I understand. Then, Trigura made 3 substitutions. Hao Junman replaced the reasonably performing Wu Zidane. Yu Shihao moved to the left wing as a left winger. Xiao Jiaoyi replaced Angelo. The 3 newly signed Chinese players began to adapt to the rhythm of the Portuguese Youth League. In the 85th minute, Hao Junman delivered a beautiful cross. Ronaldo leaped high and headed the ball into the goal. But in the header contest, the opposing centre-back, who jumped a fraction of a step too late, forced his way into the air and deliberately collided with Ronaldo. His shoulder and Ronaldo's chest collided violently. After the ball went into the net, Ronaldo fell to the ground and did not get up to celebrate. Moreover, when he landed, he seemed to have completely lost control, with no support on his limbs. This was. Deng Kai was the first to react. He shouted towards the bench, "Team doctor. Get the team doctor right now. Ronaldo's in trouble." He rushed to Ronaldo. At this point, the referee hadn't even stopped the game yet. Nobody thought it was a big deal. It wasn't until Deng Kai laid Ronaldo flat on the grass and started performing CPR that everyone realized the seriousness of the situation. The team doctor rushed onto the field and took over Deng Kai's treatment. This was the opening match of the U17 League, and thanks to last year's success, this year's game was televised. This scene was broadcast throughout Portugal. Finally, Ronaldo's eyelids twitched, and his fingers bent. His heartbeat returned. Then Ronaldo slowly opened his eyes. He tried to stand up, not feeling anything was wrong. But the team doctor stopped him and lifted him onto a stretcher. What happened? Ronaldo looked at Deng Kai beside him. It's nothing, it's just a little incident. It means your great career is about to officially begin. Deng Kai didn't tell Ronaldo that his heart had stopped for 30 seconds. That would terrify anyone. Even Deng Kai himself was pale and trembling. To prepare for this unexpected day, he had taken CPR during his compulsory education in Portugal, achieving perfect scores in both theory and practice. But when actually facing a patient, everything changed. Deng Kai left the pitch with Cristiano Ronaldo. Sporting Lisbon U17 then played with 9 men, but fortunately, with little time remaining, they only conceded 1 goal and ultimately won the opening match 4-1, securing a winning start to the league. But no one paid attention to any of this. All the reporters rushed to the hospital. Even fans who didn't follow youth training matches heard about it. News flew everywhere. Supernova falls. Cristiano Ronaldo suffers cardiac arrest after violent collision on the pitch, nearly dies. Pitch accident. Portuguese U16 star Cristiano Ronaldo loses consciousness on the pitch for 30 seconds. Teammates cry in fear. Luckily, Deng Kai was there. Deng Kai immediately noticed Ronaldo's problems and used CPR to save him from the brink of death. Team doctor, when we took over Ronaldo, his heartbeat had returned. Duncan's first aid was excellent and effective. University of Lisbon medical professor, Duncan's first aid was excellent. He received a perfect score. He saved Ronaldo. Trigura, temporarily declining any interviews regarding Ronaldo. We will inform everyone once the situation becomes clearer. The influence of the UEFA U16 championship remains. When the Portuguese learned of Ronaldo's injury on the field, they all prayed for him. And as the video surfaced, others in Europe who knew Ronaldo were also deeply moved. Sick, if he's alright, I'll tell him he's one of the best strikers I've ever faced. Van Persie, I admit, he's no worse than me, as long as he can get back on the field. Sneijder, Ronaldo's excellence needs no introduction, such a good player shouldn't be neglected by God. Van der Vaart, I hope all youth academy players can stay healthy and free from injuries. Robin, he plays with great effort, he deserves higher praise. I wish him a speedy recovery. Lom, Deng Kai's actions are something we should all learn from. Learning first aid is not only being responsible to others but also to ourselves. Iniesta, that was too dangerous. Just watching the video almost made me cry. I can't imagine the pressure the people on the field were under. Torres, Ronaldo is so dedicated, I understand him. He'll do anything to score a goal, we're the same kind of people. It wasn't just these outstanding young players. Many top league stars learned about the incident after the match through inquiries from reporters, their own experiences, and sharing from teammates. Guardiola confidently told the media, I've met Ronaldo, he's in great shape, he won't have any major problems, definitely not. I hope he can play until he's 40. Last year's Ballon d'Or and FIFA World Player of the Year winner, Zidane, said, he has the spirit of a professional player, he will definitely enter professional football and become an indispensable player. Players with this kind of spirit are never bad. Manchester United manager Ferguson went even further, stating, I've spoken with Duncan on the phone, Ronaldo's current situation is stable, things aren't bad. I suggested they conduct a thorough examination, but I'm optimistic about the outcome. We certainly might sign Ronaldo in the future, as long as he continues to improve. I don't think any club would want him. Later in a Premier League match, Manchester United granted permission to observe a minute's silence before the game to pray for Ronaldo. In the stands, Manchester United fans also created a huge banner depicting the moment Ronaldo won the header, to express their respect for Ronaldo's indomitable spirit. The sun never disappoints, especially at such crucial moments. They published a silhouette photo with the headline What is he doing? Below is the second photo, which highly overlaps with the silhouette. That's the back view of Deng Kai performing CPR on Cristiano Ronaldo. The text below describes the incident in detail and highly praises Deng Kai. But below that is another photo, also highly overlapping with the silhouette. This time, it's a photo of Lee Bowyer, the talented but problematic player for Leeds United in the English Premier League. Groping a prostitute lying on a sofa in a nightclub. Lee Bowyer rose to fame at a young age in 1994, and even now, he is considered to be no worse than Beckham on the right wing. From the silhouette, the two photos are almost identical. But one is saving a life, while the other is preparing to create a new one. The difference is obvious. The Sun, using its forte of gossip, made a noble statement, criticizing the bad habits of young English stars and giving a heavy lash to the British football stars. But they may not know that even more than 20 years later, the British football star's nature remains unchanged. One or two people having problems is a problem with people. When problems arise in groups or generations, it's definitely a matter of environment and mindset. The overall atmosphere in England offers some clues to this. Suddenly remembering many readers are waiting for me to point them in the right direction, I quickly wrote an update. The third round of group matches is different from the second round, with many teams potentially having breakout performances. 1. Ecuador and Senegal are direct competitors, both being aggressive and precise attacking teams. Senegal's relentless attack will inevitably lead to a goal conceded. Ecuador only needs a draw to advance, a perfect hand. How could they possibly lose? Ecuador wins. 2. The Netherlands plays Qatar. Having already secured qualification, they will definitely have other considerations. Their attack is problematic, almost entirely reliant on De Jong. Without De Jong leading the attack, they have no real offensive threat. Therefore, they will likely explore more possibilities in their midfield and attacking combinations. The Netherlands will win by a large margin against Qatar. 3. Wales has no attacking threat whatsoever, and they absolutely need to win this match. They're almost certain to concede to England, and a heavy defeat is inevitable. However, this doesn't mean England is strong. Like Spain, England can falter in tough matches. 4. Iran and the USA are direct competitors, with a winner securing qualification. This match is the most unpredictable, anything can happen. But considering off-field factors, the next host nation, the USA, should at least make it to the knockout stage. A narrow victory for the USA. Furthermore, starting from the last 4 matches of the second group stage, the refereeing standards have tightened. This makes it difficult for weaker teams to pull off upsets, an adjustment made to send more strong teams to the knockout stage. Chapter 166 Extreme Strength. Mom, Dad, Brother, Sister, what brings you here? Cristiano Ronaldo, in the hospital, was unaware of his condition. It wasn't until his family arrived that he realized the seriousness of the situation. He turned to Deng Kai. Kai, do I have some terminal illness? Upon hearing this, Ronaldo's family immediately burst into tears, with his mother and sister weeping uncontrollably. The atmosphere of grief was overwhelming. Deng Kai's attempts to comfort him were ineffective. Finally, the doctor and Trigura arrived. At Deng Kai's insistence, they informed Ronaldo of his condition in front of him. The collision was purely accidental. The violent impact caused Ronaldo's cardiac arrest and fractured ribs. Thanks to Deng Kai's timely intervention, Ronaldo suffered no lasting effects. Of course, the doctor had reason to suspect that the rib fractures weren't caused by the impact itself, but rather by Deng Kai's excessive force during CPR. This can happen in hospitals, especially with elderly or very frail patients. But a fracture is better than being lifeless. Furthermore, at Deng Kai's request, the hospital conducted another in-depth examination. The results revealed that Ronaldo had a minor issue, tachycardia, a problem that hadn't been detected in previous tests. It wasn't serious, it was just a minor ailment. Most people who go for a physical exam will have a result of sinus arrhythmia, and doctors will always tell you that this is essentially nothing to worry about. Ronaldo's tachycardia is similar, it won't affect his career. In fact, appropriate physical activity might even be beneficial for Ronaldo. But, doctors always mention the worst-case scenario. Your eye pain might subside after a while, but if you ask a doctor, they'll tell you there's a risk of retinal detachment. You might experience shortness of breath, which might be fine the next day, but to a doctor, it could range from bronchitis to lung cancer. Can you say the doctor is irresponsible? They just don't want to take responsibility, so they won't give their judgment casually. The doctor avoids responsibility, but the pressure falls on the patient. And this pressure can potentially lead to new illnesses for the patient. Statistics show that 95% of anxiety disorder sufferers believe they have a serious or terminal illness. Some of these individuals only developed anxiety after seeking medical attention for physical discomfort. Anyone who has been ill knows that physical pain is one aspect, but mental anguish can sometimes be even more devastating. In comparison, traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, has clearly excelled in this area. Psychological comfort and reassurance are essential components of TCM. The reason for mentioning this is that doctors believe that, under extreme circumstances, a rapid heart rate could lead to a repeat of Cristiano Ronaldo's current situation. No, it shouldn't be called extreme. For a normal person, such an extreme situation is almost negligible. But Ronaldo is different. He is destined to become a professional athlete. Football pushes both aerobic and anaerobic exercise to near maximum levels. There are numerous collisions, confrontations, and falls. This significantly increases the probability of a dangerous situation caused by Ronaldo's rapid heart rate. While still extremely low, it has changed from something that might happen once every 50 years to something that might happen once every 10 years. That's dangerous enough. Later, Danish midfielder Christian Eriksen suffered the same fate during a European Championship match. He was saved by the team doctor's best efforts, but his career was severely impacted. So, now we need to determine one thing: whether Ronaldo will have surgery to completely cure this condition. The doctor stated. "I won't." Ronaldo was the first to object, shaking his head frantically. The fear of death is always felt only after the fact. Initially, Ronaldo was more relaxed than others after the accident. But as he learned more about the situation, he saw the footage of Deng Kai trying to save him, and he realized he had no memory of that time. He panicked. He was terrified. He dared not close his eyes, afraid that once he did, he would never open them again. And the surgery required general anesthesia. He also worried that the anesthesiologist might administer too much anesthetic, causing him to never wake up again. Various thoughts occupied Ronaldo's mind. Many of his guesses were unlikely. It wasn't a low probability, but rather a misunderstanding of someone's profession by an uninformed layman. But there was no way to calm someone who had just faced death. He couldn't. What will happen to the team if I have surgery? The team will definitely lose. Ronaldo offered himself an excuse. The team can accept losing. Trigueros stated that he could withstand any pressure as long as Ronaldo was healthy. It's just a U17 match. I can manage on my own, Deng Kai said. You focus on your surgery. We'll move up to U19 in a month or two. Winning or losing in the U17 match doesn't matter. You don't actually think the Portuguese U15 league title counts as a championship, do you? Our future encyclopedia entries won't even mention these. Including the UEFA Youth League, or even the UEFA Youth League title, there won't be any. The professional arena is just the starting point for a footballer. Before the race officially begins, you can prepare. But once it really starts, you won't have that time anymore. You don't want to have surgery like this right when we were about to win the Champions League, do you? If you don't do it now, you have to pay me a Champions League trophy, you know? Ronaldo was caught up in Deng Kai's blatant bluff. Hell, so if I have surgery now, you'll pay me a Champions League trophy? Deng Kai held up 3 fingers, no problem. Cristiano Ronaldo looked at Deng Kai's fingers. Isn't the thumb and forefinger touching? That's the OK sign. What do you mean by touching your thumb and pinky? Are you messing with me? Deng Kai's lips curled up. That gesture is called I swear where we're from. It's even more effective than OK. You can ask if you don't understand, but don't pretend you do, okay? Cristiano Ronaldo looked impatient. Get lost. Focus on playing well in the league first. If you can't even win a single game in the league, I'll be waiting for your Champions League title until I die. Cristiano Ronaldo's mother slapped him. Don't say such unlucky things. Cristiano Ronaldo covered his face, laughing and crying at the same time. Deng Kai and Trigueros and others then left the ward, giving Cristiano Ronaldo's family some time alone. The doctors were contacting specialists and expected to perform surgery within a week. The heart was recovering quickly, and he was expected to recover in 2 weeks after the surgery. However, the rib fracture would take at least 3 months. So, considering everything, it was best to rest as much as possible and discuss other things in 6 months. Trigueros said it was no problem. He could even let Cristiano Ronaldo rest for a year. Chapter 167 The counterfeit goods revealed? Heart disease? Cristiano Ronaldo's career ruined. A talented man's death? Quaresma's successor, Cristiano Ronaldo, may be unable to play. A heartbreaking situation. If not for heart problems, Cristiano Ronaldo might have joined Manchester United, Real Madrid, or other giants. Debunking rumors. Cristiano Ronaldo's heart disease is curable, and he will undergo surgery soon. Trigura. Most reports related to Cristiano Ronaldo's condition are untrue. He will be better after surgery. Sporting Lisbon. Before the news of Cristiano Ronaldo's condition broke, many clubs wanted to sign him and made offers. But now, these clubs have all disappeared. We don't want to name them all, but it's disappointing. Barcelona. We never thought of signing Cristiano Ronaldo. We admire more technical players like Messi. Guardiola covers his face in speechlessness. I don't understand Barcelona's youth academy department. Sporting Lisbon didn't mention your name, so why are you jumping out? Surgery successful. Doctor, Cristiano Ronaldo will be fully recovered in 2 or 3 months. His physical health is surprisingly good. He's physically strong. His athleticism will be terrifying after puberty. 3 consecutive losses. Sporting Lisbon U17 without Ronaldo seems to have lost its soul. A scoundrel exposed. Deng Kai's 3 games with 0 goals and 0 assists. He doesn't deserve to be the best midfielder. Top strikers will benefit many mediocre midfielders. Ronaldo without Caesar is still Ronaldo, but Caesar without Ronaldo can only become Deng Kai. The worst midfielder in history. A midfield core with a passing accuracy below 80%, Deng Kai's complication-level performance has drawn criticism from fans. Perhaps no one expected that the biggest victim of Ronaldo's temporary departure from Sporting Lisbon U17 due to heart surgery wouldn't be him, but Deng Kai. After winning their first match, Sporting Lisbon U17 suffered 3 consecutive defeats. They lost terribly. It even affected Trigger. Many fans expressed relief that Trigger wasn't coaching the first team, otherwise, the first team would have been finished. Look at the first team now, 2 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. Although they haven't yet secured first place in the standings, at least Jardel and Quaresma have performed brilliantly. They're generating more buzz than Porto and Benfica, making fans happy. Isn't that enough? And Maxa, who supports Jardel and Quaresma, is being called the man behind Augustus, Sporting Lisbon's Kagaro Mori, and Portugal's true tactical mastermind. Alcochete training ground. The Sporting Lisbon U17 players are training. Another match day is approaching. The young players are anxious, as many don't know if they'll be starters or even make the squad. In the past 3 matches, Trigura has experimented with various combinations, but without much success. Duncan's stats are indeed poor, 0 goals and 0 assists. But he actually makes many threatening passes, it's just that his teammates can't receive them. After so many missed passes, his teammates have even become a little afraid of Duncan's passes. After all, nobody wants to waste the team's opportunities. In this respect, they need to learn from Ronaldo. No matter how many opportunities I waste, Ronaldo, will never feel guilty because I always believe my next shot will result in a goal. This confidence is extremely similar to Kobe Bryant in the NBA, who, even after missing his first 20 shots, would still take the 20th one with unwavering determination. This shamelessness, or rather, this mentality, cannot be learned. It's an innate combination of a big heart, competitiveness, and persistence. Players are afraid of wasting opportunities, or rather, they know they won't receive the ball well and will be dispossessed, so they will naturally drop back early to defend. This is a positive attitude, but it also means that Sporting Lisbon U17's wingers can't get up the flanks. In possession and passing, if the wingers can't get up, it creates a situation where they dominate possession but can't score. They always have the ball, but rarely create scoring opportunities. The future Portuguese team has this weakness, a lack of players who can break through on the wings. Even with superstars like Leo and Mendes, the coach's tactics still don't allow for such explosive plays. It has to be said that this is a weakness in the coach's tactics. Sporting Lisbon U17's head coach had effective tactics and possessed speedy wingers like Wu Zedong and Yu Shihao, but the players' mentality was problematic, and they hesitated to take the field. The reasons varied, but the underlying issues were the same. Just as Trigura continued to seek new combinations, Deng Kai approached him. He presented his ideas for the team's formation and playing style. Trigura supported Deng Kai, but wasn't optimistic about the outcome. While the young Chinese players were no worse than other players at the moment, they had fallen behind in basic skills like teamwork. How could relying heavily on them possibly yield good results? Trigura agreed to Deng Kai's offer purely to see how far Deng Kai could go and whether he could turn things around when everyone else was underperforming. Furthermore, much of Trigura's energy was actually focused on the case of his backer and researching Portuguese league teams. Once the other party was out of trouble, even if they couldn't become club president immediately, they could regain some of their influence within the club. Then, Trigura could return with his research and led the first team to compete for the championship. Thus, in the fifth round of the Portuguese U17 League, everyone noticed Sporting Lisbon's bizarre starting lineup. Oh. I believe many people don't understand this starting lineup. If Trigura didn't have the energy to coach the U17s, he could have let someone else coach them, but why make such a mess? I even think this team is coached by Deng Kai. He's practicing nepotism, finally putting all his Chinese teammates in the starting lineup. Perhaps this is the reward for the Chinese F4 group helping Deng Kai play against the Argentinians. It's loyal, but it's not football. Honestly, these Chinese should leave the team. Deng Kai should leave too. He doesn't have any special skills, he's just an opportunistic midfielder who only knows how to ride on Ronaldo's coattails. At least Deng Kai has proven he's not suitable to be a team's midfield core. The club has Ronaldo, the national youth team has Quaresma. Deng Kai is really lucky, he even won a treble last year. He also stole Ronaldo's UEFA Youth League Golden Boot and Viana's UEFA Youth League assist title. The reason everyone is so angry is because this lineup is utterly disorganized. This is a 4-2-3-1 starting lineup. The lone striker isn't Miguel Pico, the previous main striker for the U17 team, but Yu Shihao, who is currently registered as a left winger. The left midfielder isn't the original starter Carlos Matisse, but Hao Junmin, who is currently registered as a right midfielder. The right midfielder is Wu Zudong, the original right back who has already played 3 games in that position. The attacking midfielder is Deng Kai. The 2 defensive midfielders are Veloso and Nuno Tavares, the U17 starting defensive midfielder. The 4 defenders are Joao Cassima, Xiao Jiaoyi, Angelo, and Duarte. The goalkeeper is Marcio Santos. The entire midfield and attacking line is Chinese. Can Chinese players play attacking football? No. They don't have the ability, you know? Cheer up. Entering the stadium, Deng Kai felt the pressure from the fans and began encouraging his teammates. Don't forget our training, run more, pass the ball more, dribble when you should, and pass early when you shouldn't. Either make the ball flow, or make the ball break through at high speed. There are no other options, understand? Chapter 168 The initial achievement of magic power. His teammates nodded in agreement. Perhaps no one had much confidence in this match. But Deng Kai did. Because Arteta's whiteboard showed that Wu Zudong, Yu Shihao, Hao Junmin, and Xiao Jiaoyi's adaptation rate to the passing and possession tactics had exceeded 85%. Hao Junmin's comprehension was particularly high, reaching 90%. The other midfielders and defenders were also close to 70%. This meant that the team's passing and possession tactics had reached a certain level of maturity. Before reaching this level, the passing and possession tactics were very weak, which was a major reason for Deng Kai's previously high error rate. Compared to counter-attacking and long balls, before the passing and possession tactics were fully developed, they were as weak as a lump of mud. But once they reached a certain level of maturity, they could provide some positive effects, such as masking players' weaknesses, enhancing their technical advantages, and converting possession advantages into scoring advantages. Today, Sporting Lisbon's opponent was Boavista U17. Boavista is also a well-known strong team in the Portuguese league in recent years, having once broken the monopoly of the 3 giants on the championship. Deng Kai's teammate Meireles in the European U17 Championship is the core of this team. Of course, Meireles is now playing for Boavista U19. In fact, if it weren't for the UEFA Youth League, he might have gone directly to the U21 level. Last year's UEFA Youth League, held in the U15 category, was a huge success. After much consideration, UEFA and major clubs decided to hold this year's competition in the U19 age group. This age group has a higher level of competition, more popular stars, and is more conducive to attracting investment. Moreover, U19 stars are just one step away from the first team, offering good commercial prospects. Any player who performs well in the UEFA Youth League might be bought by a top club or directly promoted to the first team, achieving instant fame. This further enhances the brand value of the UEFA Youth League. Of course, This also means that Deng Kai will miss out on the UEFA Youth League this year, unless he jumps from U17 to U19 during the winter transfer window. In normal European competitions, players transferred during the winter transfer window cannot be registered for the Champions League. Ronaldo missed half a season of Champions League matches because of this. 20 years later, the regulations were relaxed, allowing players to re-register during the winter transfer window. This led to the remarkable phenomenon of Haaland scoring goals for two different teams in the Champions League in a single season. However, the UEFA Youth League, considering the high mobility of youth players and the inherent instability of the competition, lacks such regulations. This explains why Veloso was able to play in the second half of the UEFA Youth League after transferring from Benfica to Sporting Lisbon last winter. In the first 5 minutes of this match, Boavista pressed aggressively, making it difficult for Sporting Lisbon to maintain possession. In the 6th minute, Hao Junmin lost possession after being pressed. He complained to the referee about a foul, but the referee ruled it a normal physical challenge. Boavista then launched a fierce attack, almost scoring. When the ball slid off the goal, the entire stadium booed. This was Boavista's youth academy home ground, with over 1,000 fans in attendance. Their boos were directed at Hao Junmin, but also at Sporting Lisbon, a taunt filled with mockery for Sporting Lisbon's inability to maintain possession. It's okay, this is normal. They won't be able to play like this after 10 minutes, Deng Kai said to Hao Junmin. At this stage, you can drop back a bit more and remember to pass the ball back to me more often. In adult matches, the pace of the game is actually abnormal for the first 10 minutes or so. It's much faster because both sides are full of energy and the players are highly motivated. During this period, regardless of whether you're a possession-based team or a counter-attacking team, you won't be able to maintain possession, and you'll lose possession frequently. This is perfectly normal. For both sides, not conceding a goal at this stage is a victory. So, while Hao Junmin's mistake was dangerous, it wasn't unforgivable. He just didn't perform exceptionally well. Sure enough, after 10 minutes, the ball was basically circulating under Sporting Lisbon's control. Deng Kai's running range has expanded significantly this season, which has enhanced the team's dominance and possession. His individual passing and receiving count even exceeded the total passing and receiving count of the entire Boavista team. The absence of Ronaldo was a key reason for the team's 3 consecutive losses. The maladjustment of young Chinese players like Yu Shihao is a secondary reason. But another important reason is that Deng Kai, after his rapid growth spurt, hasn't fully adapted to his body. It's not that he's not used to the height. 1.65 meters isn't tall. The main reason is that in the past 2 months, Deng Kai's weight, strength, and speed have been changing and improving daily. A pass that was perfectly timed in training today would be too fast and too long in a match 2 or 3 days later. Therefore, the forwards collectively couldn't receive the ball, and besides their own skill level, they also took a lot of the blame for Deng Kai's poor passing. In the past 3 matches, even Cristiano Ronaldo would have been terrified by Deng Kai's passes. In the 22nd minute, Sporting Lisbon's prolonged passing of the ball aroused the dissatisfaction of the surrounding fans. They booed again. This behavior was an attack on Sporting Lisbon, but it also revealed that these fans didn't understand football. Because those who understand football know that when passing the ball makes the fans drowsy, the killer move isn't far off. In the 24th minute, Yu Shihao dropped back as usual to receive Deng Kai's pass in the middle. This time, however, Deng Kai didn't spread out laterally or drop back as usual after passing the ball. Instead, he made a forward run. The pace of the game suddenly accelerated. Before his forward run, Deng Kai gave Yu Shihao a signal with his eyes. Yu Shihao immediately passed a ball to Deng Kai. Deng Kai then passed the ball back to Yu Shihao. The two played a 1-2, advancing together. Boavista's defensive midfielder rushed towards Deng Kai. But Deng Kai didn't attempt a breakthrough, decisively passing the ball to Hao Junmin, who was following up on the left wing, and then made another forward run. Hao Junmin received the ball and passed it back to Yu Shihao. Bang! Yu Shihao delivered a through ball. In a short period of time, 6 or 7 consecutive passes instantly pierced through Boavista's defense. Deng Kai directly challenged the opposing center-back at the edge of the penalty area. What a pity, it would have been better if Yu Shihao had been in that position. As a striker, Yu Shihao could have posed a greater threat to the opposing center-backs. Deng Kai's passing is excellent, but challenging center-backs isn't his forte. His dribbling is rather simple and lacks deception. He's also considerably slower than Yushiheo, making it difficult for him to overpower opponents. Physically, although he's grown taller this season, his physical strength hasn't improved significantly in the short term. Step over. Deng Kai is actually doing a step over. 3, 4, 5 step overs in a row. His movements are very coordinated. Boavista's center back is very strong, he's held firm, he didn't fall for the feint. Pass. Deng Kai is preparing to overpower his opponent with his speed. Going forward. Deng Kai goes forward, and falls. A whistle blows. The referee points to the penalty spot. At the same time, he shows a yellow card to Boavista's center back. He pulled down Deng Kai as he was about to rush forward. And at that moment, Deng Kai's foot had already entered the penalty area. Boavista's entire team struggled to accept the result. They tried to explain, but the referee's eyes were sharp. It wasn't a dive, it was a clear penalty. He stood by his decision. There will be double monthly votes next month, so remember to vote during the double period. Someone is questioning why I always get one wrong out of 4 matches. Is it because I'm not good enough? Obviously not. As the saying goes, of the 50 great paths, one escapes. Since everyone doesn't understand, today I'll make an exception and give you a ruthless performance. Tunisia versus France, the gap is huge, France is a sure win. However, France has to guard against injuries and can only play patiently, the score won't be too high. Moreover, French players are different from Brazilian players, the latter have a lower floor but a higher ceiling, and are more relaxed when leading, making it easier to unleash powerful attacks. Most French players are relatively unremarkable in terms of skill, the difference in performance between leading and trailing is not significant. Mbappé and Dembélé are playing conservatively, so they can't unleash powerful attacks. Australia versus Denmark, the two sides drew. Australia only needs a draw to advance, it's hard for them to lose. Denmark isn't good at attacking, and can only score through penalties or set pieces. If Australia can lose in this situation, it just shows FIFA's disdain for Asian teams. The specifics will be clear from today's referees' decisions. In the Argentina versus Poland match, Poland's defense is excellent, and the players are all tall and imposing. Argentina can't score from set pieces or high balls, forcing them to rely on ground attacks. Unfortunately, Poland packs up their ground players, a situation Argentina has historically struggled against. Poland wants a draw, Argentina wants a win, so a draw is highly probable. In the Saudi Arabia versus Mexico match, Mexico has a clear advantage, and Saudi Arabia is short-handed, making a Mexican victory almost certain. However, in the end, Mexico's goal difference and head-to-head record allowed Argentina to advance. Chapter 169 Is this Kai or Luo? Deng Kai stood at the penalty spot, and as the whistle blew, he took the shot. The ball flew powerfully towards the right side of the goal. Boavista's goalkeeper guessed the right direction, but was a step too slow and couldn't stop Deng Kai from scoring. Goal. Deng Kai scores from the penalty spot. He converted the penalty he earned himself, scoring his first goal of the season. Many people thought he would pass after his step over, but he just dribbled straight in. This is a very uncharacteristic style of play for Deng Kai, but it has to be said, it works very well. It seems that as he grows taller, Deng Kai's confidence in breaking through is also increasing. He's becoming bolder in his movements. He really should teach Ronaldo that step over. Ronaldo's step over is faster than his, but his step over is more beautiful. Thud. Ronaldo, lying in bed, angrily threw his phone. What's with the talk of cracking the code? Do you even understand football? My lightning-fast step-over is worse than Deng Kai's ordinary step-over? This penalty directly changed the course of the game. With a goal in hand, Sporting Lisbon no longer worried about their lead and began to pass the ball back more freely, shifting the possession from midfield to their own half. Deng Kai's running and receiving became much less, he only needed to pass the ball to his teammates. Boavista launched a fierce counter-pressing attack in the 35th minute. However, with Deng Kai dropping back, this counter-pressing effort failed to produce any results. Boavista's initial momentum waned, and they completely lost control of the game. They could only wait for their coach to give them a pep talk at halftime. In the 43rd minute, the Boavista fans on the sidelines began booing again. This time, it meant they were truly desperate. The first half was about to end, but these fans saw no hope. If the team didn't score again, they might leave at halftime. To keep the fans In the 45th minute, Deng Kai combined with Duarte and Wu Zedong on the wing. After 5 consecutive passes, Deng Kai feigned receiving the ball. Duarte played a through ball over the top, and Wu Zedong tore open a gap on the right flank, making his way down the byline. Bang! Wu Zedong crossed from the byline. Yu Shihao scrambled for the header in the center. But he wasn't tall enough for such a high ball. This was more suitable for the team's original starting center forward, Pike, or the bedridden Ronaldo. Bang! Boavista's center back headed the ball out of the penalty area. But the next moment, his hair stood on end. He saw Deng Kai use his hand to push aside a defender, creating space beside him, and unleashing a powerful volley as the ball fell from midair. Bang! A volley. No technique. All emotion. The ball shot into the net. The Boavista goalkeeper was blocked by the crowd in front of the goal and didn't even see the ball. 2-0. Sporting Lisbon scores again before halftime. They have a chance to end their 3-game losing streak in the league today. Boavista's coach needed to think of a solution. Faced with strong ball control, what tactic did Boavista finally devise? In the 65th minute, the opposing player fouled Deng Kai for the second time in a row, finally receiving a yellow card. Their tactical intention was clear: to give Deng Kai plenty of physical contact. Regardless of the ball's trajectory, he was bound to fall. The Youth League has strict standards for judging physical fouls, making this last resort from professional teams ineffective here. In the 72nd minute, Deng Kai, Hao Junmin, and Yu Shihao executed a series of short passes on the left flank, culminating in Yu Shihao taking a long-range shot from outside the penalty area on the left, creating a corner kick. Deng Kai took the corner, and Xiao Jiaoyi, the tallest player on the team, leaped high and headed the ball into the net. A short player in basketball becomes a giant in football. 3-0, Sporting Lisbon secured the victory. In the 76th minute, Boavista attempted another attack. Xiao Jiaoyi, who had just scored, made another contribution on the defensive end, blocking an opponent's shot. In the 80th and 81st minutes, Veloso fouled opposing attacking players, stopping their offensive runs but receiving yellow cards in the process. In the 86th minute, Tavares intercepted the ball inside the penalty area and passed it to Deng Kai. Deng Kai launched a long pass from the backfield to Yu Shihao, who was moving to the left flank. Yu Shihao fought fiercely for the ball, failing to get past his opponent but creating a throw-in. After the throw-in, Deng Kai received the ball, and facing pressure, he executed a Marseille's turn to get past his opponent, then accelerated towards the penalty area. After drawing enough defenders, Deng Kai passed to Wu Zedong, who had cut inside. Wu Zedong received the ball and played a diagonal pass behind the advancing Deng Kai. The defender in that position was pulled away, and the ball reached Yu Shihao. The defender lunged at Yu Shihao. On the left side of the penalty area, Yu Shihao, not seeking personal gain, flicked the ball with his heel to Hao Junmin behind him. Hao Junmin, without controlling the ball, delivered a diagonal pass into the penalty area, sending the ball into the back of the net, completely outmaneuvering Boavista's defenders. A series of passes nearly made the camera dizzy. Finally, the ball rolled past a penalty spot, and Deng Kai, making a forward run, found the ball perfectly positioned. Bang! From such close range, Deng Kai unleashed a low shot. The Boavista goalkeeper had barely rushed out when the ball flew into the net. Goal. 4-0. This was a classic team play. Deng Kai and the 3 young Chinese players have developed a great chemistry, and Traore's possession-based tactics have finally paid off. Deng Kai ran well on that ball, but the other players passed it even better. It was practically a direct pass into the goal. Hat-trick. Let's congratulate Deng Kai. He's become the second player in the U17 league to complete a hat-trick, the first being Cristiano Ronaldo. Oh. I have to say, Deng Kai's performance today is quite questionable. Is this really Deng Kai? Are you sure this isn't Cristiano Ronaldo? If Deng Kai continues to play like this, I think Sporting Lisbon fans might even forget about Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, the referee has blown the final whistle. Congratulations to Sporting Lisbon for bouncing back after 3 consecutive losses. Their lineup today was very bold, but it worked very well. Yu Shihao and Hao Junmin both provided assists, Xiao Jiaoyi scored a goal, and although Wu Zedong didn't have any individual statistics, his performance in the game was undeniable. Hopefully, these players will continue to perform well in the next match. As for Deng Kai, he proved himself even more. His passing statistics in this match were close to those of the entire Boavista team. He is undoubtedly the core of Sporting Lisbon. After the match, Deng Kai was selected as the man of the match. Related media outlets described this Sporting Lisbon U17 team as having developed their magic touch. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170, Goals Can't Hide the Decline, Princess Diaries premiere. Can't be a Ronaldo without a star. Deng Kai's triumphant return. Is Sporting Lisbon U17's goal still the championship this season? The Chinese team's excellent teamwork and individual skills are no less than their peers. Yu Xiao's speed, positioning, and footwork are all excellent. Rather than a lone striker, he's more of a shadow striker. With the right strike partner, his threat level will rise. Hao Junmin has excellent technique, a clear mind, and good organizational skills. He's Deng Kai's best assistant in orchestrating the midfield. Xiao Jiaoyi's decisive defense and outstanding heading ability. He's very similar to Font, who plays for Sporting Lisbon U19. As a high-profile Portuguese team, even though it's just a youth tournament, several smaller media outlets are still willing to report on it. Most media outlets acknowledge Sporting Lisbon U17's performance this season. However, Bara is certainly not one of them. Bara newspaper, although Boavista won all 4 of their matches before facing Sporting Lisbon U17, their opponents were mostly weak teams, so this result doesn't necessarily indicate their strength. In fact, Boavista lost their midfield maestro Meireles, their main striker, and their center-back this past summer, so Sporting Lisbon was just lucky. Deng Kai's so-called ability can only be demonstrated against teams without a midfield. Moreover, he scored more goals in this match, reflecting that he is essentially an opportunist. He used to leech off Ronaldo, and now he's leeching off Chinese players. To be fair, Bara's reports always seem surprisingly reasonable at first glance. No wonder they have a large following. However, if you read a few more of their articles, you'll see their contradictions. One headline criticizes Chinese players lack the ability to compete in the Portuguese U17 league, and the next it's about Deng Kai leeching off Chinese players. When conditions allow, they smear Deng Kai along with Chinese players. When circumstances don't allow for it, you just focus all your firepower on criticizing Deng Kai, right? After the match, Deng Kai called Ronaldo, intending to share the team's victory with him. However, the caller ID said, "The number you dialed is currently busy, please try again later." Deng Kai tried calling all day, but Ronaldo was always on the line. It's clear that the team's resounding victory without Ronaldo was a huge blow to him. Winning isn't scary, but the absence of someone is embarrassing. September 21st. The 6th round of the league kicks off. Sporting Lisbon hosts Tondela. Unlike Boavista, whose squad underwent significant changes, Tondela's players all played together last season. Of course, this also means that there aren't any truly talented players in this team. Because if a talented player performs well in one season, they often skip a level in the next. This match seemed to confirm the predictions of the Bahrain newspaper. The two sides battled for 88 minutes, but neither achieved anything. Sporting Lisbon had a lot of possession, but apart from a few long-range shots that went far wide, they created almost no threat. Facing a well-coordinated midfield and defense, the passing combinations of Yu Xiao, Hao Junmin, Wu Zudong, and Deng Kai struggled to break down the opposition. Until the 89th minute, Deng Kai, relying on his individual skill, delivered a through ball. Yu Xiao was fouled from behind before receiving the ball, earning the team a very close-range free kick. Deng Kai's low shot stunned the inexperienced Tondela U17 players, giving them a 1-0 lead. The late goal caused Tondela to collapse. After the restart, they desperately tried to press forward and equalize. However, they conceded a goal in the 91st minute of stoppage time. Hao Junmin received the ball in the attacking third, appearing relaxed, and boldly attempted a dribbling move that succeeded. Hao Junmin nutmegged the defender and then dribbled past two opponents. Deng Kai made a run, and Hao Junmin passed the ball to him. Deng Kai flicked the ball into the penalty area. Yu Xiao, facing the on-rushing goalkeeper, chipped the ball over him without stopping, displaying incredible imagination. 2-0. Sporting Lisbon secured their second consecutive victory. Deng Kai contributed a goal and an assist, continuing to be named man of the match. In fact, most technically gifted players share a common characteristic: they perform exceptionally well when ahead. This is because they are more relaxed and have a better mindset when ahead, allowing them to be bolder in their fancy moves and more likely to deliver powerful strikes. However, the weakness of these players is that they become hesitant and timid when behind, appearing timid on the field, wanting to make moves but afraid to, wanting to break through but hesitant, and the performance is sometimes even worse than that of average players with less skill. This was vividly demonstrated by the Brazilian players after losing Neymar. In the second round of the 2022 World Cup group stage, Brazil played terribly in the first half. Apart from Vinicius, there was almost no other player willing to take risks, and even Vinicius, under pressure, while still daring to fight, saw his performance significantly diminish, his footwork seemingly regressing by at least 30%. Only after taking the lead did Brazil revert to their former sedentary style, with everyone daring to show off their skills. With such a performance, it will be difficult for this team to achieve ideal results in truly tough matches. Neymar: when I'm on the pitch, everyone's flamboyant, everyone wants to be Neymar. When I'm not on the pitch, nobody dares to be Neymar, right? After the match against Tondela, Barra seemed to think their prediction was correct. Our prediction was right for the 88th minute. Without the unexpected events in the last few minutes, Sporting Lisbon wouldn't have won. Although Deng Kai scored in this match, it couldn't hide his lack of control in midfield. In the next match, Sporting Lisbon will face the well-known strong team in this region, San Romans. They will end Sporting Lisbon's two-game winning streak and expose Deng Kai's fragile facade. Deng Kai's personal statistics will once again be zero, whether it's goals or assists. Time moved into October. Every month, something groundbreaking and captivating happens. And this October's global event was: The Princess Diaries broke box office records on its opening day. A huge success. The Princess Diaries opening day box office of $36 million, breaking the opening day record for similar films. Recouping costs. The Princess Diaries only cost $36 million to produce, broke even on premiere, and it's all profit from here on out. Marshall achieves another success, the father of chick flicks makes a move, and the whole nation is dreaming of Pretty Dylan. American Girl or Genovese Princess. Anne Hathaway becomes an overnight sensation, becoming a North American campus goddess. Future superstar, Anne Hathaway. Is Hathaway not single? Her agent denies the rumors, confirming Hathaway won't be dating anytime soon. Free-spirited Hathaway: of course I want to date. Hathaway is a sensation. Her popularity in North America is soaring, from an unknown newcomer actress to a well-known movie star. Several production companies have already approached her, preparing to cast her in movies. Everything is going well. But, one step to heaven, one step to hell. These production companies are almost all chick flicks, that is, youth-themed films. The contract also requires offline emotional management. But Hathaway wants to refuse these conditions. The process is in progress. Remember to save your December monthly tickets for Peach during the double monthly ticket period. Chapter 171: Hathaway reveals her ideal type. The emotional manipulation is disgusting. This means Hathaway has to date the male lead in the movie in real life, or at least publicly announce it. Only then can the CP fans be happy and buy it. This isn't really a big deal, it's an unspoken rule in the entertainment industry. Hathaway's agent thought there was no question about it, she definitely had to sign it. But Hathaway kept hesitating, even asking her agent to talk to the producers to see if they could waive the clause about the off-screen relationship. The agent was going crazy. Annie, we're not big stars. Your role in The Princess Diaries was purely coincidental. Without that film, we're nothing. But do you think you're really famous now? You're still far from those actresses who truly have the right to negotiate with producers. If you reject these offers, it's very likely that no one will ever ask us to make movies again. This is the female lead. You don't want to end up playing supporting roles, do you? Besides, these male leads are all very handsome. They're the husbands of American girls. Dating them wouldn't be a loss for you. The agent was telling the truth. If she hadn't met Deng Kai, Hathaway might have actually agreed. People tend to drift along when they have no goals. But things are different now. Hathaway firmly rejected these offers. I don't want to be the girlfriend of American girls' husbands. I want my boyfriend to belong only to me, and I to belong only to him. Her agent looked helpless. You're really crazy. Soon, news of Hathaway rejecting several film offers spread. sparking a lot of discussion. Some thought Hathaway was being unreasonable and had too high an appetite. Others thought she wasn't even fully famous yet, and was already putting on airs. But the matter didn't end there. During the recording of Hollywood interview, Hathaway actually played along with the host's trap, openly revealing her ideal boyfriend criteria. This immediately propelled the show to the top of the ratings charts. Everyone wanted to see what qualities Hathaway's boyfriend needed and whether they met her standards. Host: I heard you turned down some movie offers because you didn't want to actually date the male lead in the film? Hathaway: yes, acting is my job. It can take up my life, but it can't infringe on my feelings. Host: but many girls want to date those male stars, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jake Gyllenhaal, Johnny Depp. Hathaway: yes, they're all great. I really enjoyed watching Leonardo's Titanic. I think it's one of the best romantic movies. But that doesn't mean I'd be willing to date them. They're not my type. Oh no, not my type. The host smiled slightly. So, what type of guy do you like? Can you tell me? Does he have to be very tall? Does he have to be American, or does nationality matter? Hathaway: I don't care about height. I don't think being tall equals being handsome. A tree is the tallest, but I've never heard of any tree being handsome, right? My requirements for facial features are far higher than my requirements for height. Of course, he also has to like sports. Sports make people more cheerful and positive. This isn't just my opinion, medical experts say it. Exercise releases dopamine, etc. Nationality doesn't matter. I like black hair and eyes, that depth captivates me. I think personality is more important than appearance when you actually get to know someone. He should be calm and collected, yet possess grace and a sense of humor. He might seem a little green, but when dealing with things, he definitely has his own rhythm. He's gentle and refined, doesn't speak loudly, doesn't act ostentatiously, and doesn't constantly boast about how brave he is. But when faced with real difficulties and troubles, after unsuccessful communication, he can stand against even a nation for the sake of justice in his heart. He's upright and indomitable, not in height, but in spirit. Hathaway's criteria for choosing a partner have gone viral online. Many believe she offers American girls a new and healthy option. This standard is unconventional, but wildly popular celebrities always manage to set trends, even if they aren't high-ranking in their industry. Social influence sometimes disregards such notions of hierarchy. But soon, people realized, was Hathaway sure she was referring to the ideal type? Was she really just making things up based on the picture? Deng Kai's recent video of him angrily confronting an Argentinian went viral in North America. His previous rumors with Hathaway were also brought up again. Height isn't an issue. He values handsome looks more. He likes sports. Black hair and eyes. A low-key and gentle personality, yet capable of being tough in crucial moments. This. Hathaway's heart is slightly in love. Her ideal man has a real-life model. Hathaway's ideal type isn't just general talk, it's a professional athlete. Rather than announcing her criteria, this is a public declaration of love. Hathaway publicly professes her love for Deng Kai. Her ideal type matches him perfectly. Hathaway turns down several big productions for Deng Kai, suffering huge losses and may be blacklisted by production companies. With so many news stories, for Deng Kai, this is truly sitting at home, and trouble comes out of nowhere. However, after watching Hathaway's interview, he had to think more deeply about the matter. He could see a glimmer of light in Hathaway's eyes when she spoke about those standards. This often signifies genuine affection. Hathaway later spoke with Deng Kai on the phone, expressing her apologies that even if her character card received more likes than Deng Kai's, she wouldn't mind. Oops, she apologized because the media reports might affect Deng Kai's performance in matches. Deng Kai replied that it was nothing, he was used to character card issues. Ronaldo had almost twice as many likes as him, and this generation of readers was really hard to manage. However, the two didn't delve deeper into the topic of their relationship. Both had some reservations. Hathaway was worried that a hasty confession might ruin their friendship if it failed. Deng Kai, on the other hand, needed more time to process things. After all, if you were truly prepared to date Hathaway, he definitely couldn't accept her filming kissing scenes, let alone something like love and other drugs. This would require Hathaway to make a huge sacrifice in her career. Of course, if Hathaway is truly willing to do this, then Deng Kai will definitely repay her in other ways, striving to help her career reach even greater heights than she could have. When it comes to choosing films, Deng Kai's eye for talent is probably unmatched. In short, the much-discussed relationship hasn't made much progress yet. Chapter 172 Tough Nut to Cure. October 15th. Figo led the Portuguese national team to a draw against Azerbaijan, securing their place in the European Championship finals as the second-place team in their group. Portugal celebrated nationwide. A year ago, the whole world was playing in the World Cup, but Portugal couldn't participate. Figo had vowed at the Diamond Generation Invitational Tournament to lead Portugal to the European Championship. He did it. The Portuguese superstar's reputation soared. Portugal's golden generation was finally ready to translate their youth team talent into the national team. While high hopes were placed on the national team, attention also turned to the new youth team. Quaresma, Viana, Ronaldo, Duncan, Meireles, and Almeida continued to win youth honors and eventually joined Figo in the national team. October 19th. Sporting Lisbon U17 played away against the current league leaders, San Ramon U17. This team was very strong. Trigueiro didn't change the starting lineup, sticking to the same setup as the previous match. A possession-based team needs a more stable starting lineup to cultivate understanding between players. Even substitutes should ideally be regulars playing at fixed times. At the start of the match, both sides engaged in fierce competition, which is normal. However, what was abnormal was that in the third minute, Deng Kai launched a long pass from the backfield. Zidane sprinted down the right flank, received the ball during a challenge, dribbled past his marker, and cut inside, directly attacking the penalty area. Zidane entered the box, raising his hand for the ball. Zidane feinted a pass and then surged forward, firing a shot from a tight angle inside the box. The St. Romans goalkeeper got a hand to the ball, but in doing so, he also managed to put it into the net. Otherwise, the ball should have bounced off him. Wow! Great shot! Zidane's shot was an extremely difficult choice. Everyone thought he would pass to Zidane, but he handled it this way. That's football. Some choices seem unreasonable, but as long as they lead to a goal, there's nothing wrong with them. In previous matches, Sporting Lisbon, while generally organized, was always at a disadvantage in the early stages of the game. At the same time, Zidane, who is usually very fast, seems to be underutilized in this possession-based tactic. It seems that Trigueiro has also realized this, so he is trying to develop a style of play that combines speed with possession, thereby fully utilizing the advantages of players like Zidane. The commentator gave Sporting Lisbon's tactical level a higher rating. After all, this is Trigueiro's team. There are rumors that several teams in the Portuguese Premier Liga and Liga 1 are contacting Trigueiro, but he has not given a definite answer. However, the commentator did not expect that after this goal, Sporting Lisbon started to play a cautious passing game. In the actual 60 minutes, neither side had a shot on target. The players of St. Ramon were really playing with fire. But they really couldn't get the ball. It felt awful. In the 68th minute, Deng Kai, seeing that the St. Ramon players were nearing their breaking point, decisively signaled to end the game. Zidane moved to the right wing, combining with Zidane and Deng Kai's short passes, drawing the St. Ramon defenders. Of the three, the slowest, Deng Kai, suddenly surged forward. However, Zidane and Zidane had already made their runs, and the defenders were tightly marked, forced to watch Deng Kai cut a length of the penalty area down the flank. Bang! Deng Kai delivered a powerful cross. The ball was incredibly fast. The first St. Ramon defender couldn't reach it. The second defender had a chance to intercept, but he was too close to the goal. Touching the ball would likely cause it to bounce into his own net, so he chose to let the ball pass. He trusted his teammates. Wait, where were his teammates? After letting the ball pass, the player turned his head, the green and white jerseys particularly striking. Bang! How Junman surged forward from the back row, unmarked at the far post, and slotted the ball home with pinpoint accuracy 2-0. Sporting Lisbon U17 extended their lead. Deng Kai's pass was practically a calculated move. Either you score an own goal, or my teammate scores. You choose 71st minute. Sporting Lisbon's penetration down the left flank failed, and Hao Junmin passed the ball to Deng Kai, who was coming to receive it. Deng Kai turned and pointed at the right back Duarte, who hadn't yet crossed the halfway line, seemingly signaling him to come up from behind and strengthen the attack. Bang! Deng Kai's hands were still directing, but his feet had already released a ball. The ball lofted straight into the left side of the penalty area. A no-look pass. Left side. Veloso, who had just combined with Hao Junmin on the left flank, didn't return to his defensive midfield position but suddenly surged forward. On the left side of the penalty area, Veloso received the ball. One-on-one. Bang! Veloso unleashed a powerful right-footed shot, a miracle of power. The ball bounced slightly, slipping between the opposing goalkeeper's outstretched left hand and leg. Goal. Veloso finally scores, 3-0. After scoring a hat-trick in the previous match, Deng Kai has now completed an assist hat-trick. This was an unconventional, sudden passing and running combination. Veloso and Deng Kai played together last season, and their understanding dismantled St. Roman's defense. In the 73rd minute, St. Romans were immediately surrounded by excited Sporting Lisbon players after kickoff. Unwilling to clear the ball long, they were caught off guard by Wu Zedong, who intercepted it in the attacking third. Wu Zedong dribbled down the flank. Yu Shihao started his run almost simultaneously, making a run down the middle, ready to pounce. St. Roman's defenders frantically retreated, all rushing into the penalty area. Wu Zedong then delivered a cutback pass. Deng Kai, arriving at the perfect moment, comfortably unleashed a long-range shot that pierced the net, scoring his first goal of the match. Beautiful. The one who made the pie has finally gotten his share. Congratulations to Deng Kai. Wu Zedong made a very deep impression on St. Romano before. Shooting from such a tight angle, you would never expect a player like that to pass the ball. St. Romano's defenders have lost their rational judgment, they've overtracked. In just 5 minutes, Sporting Lisbon staged a crazy goal-scoring spectacle, scoring 3 goals in a row. This team's goal-scoring explosiveness is too strong. But what's even more terrifying is that they also have the ability to hold the ball for a long time and break through during intense battles. After defeating St. Romano, I can hardly think of anyone in this region who can compete with them. Caesar. 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 Fans began to chant Deng Kai's name. Keep in mind, this is an away game. In the 76th minute, Wu Zedong cramped up his right leg and fell to the ground. As a winger, he had covered almost the entire distance from his own baseline to the opponent's baseline, frequently participating in defensive runs, tackles, and sprints, which greatly depleted his stamina. Even the men of the grasslands can't withstand such a sprint. Chapter 173. One wave and they're gone. Where's Deng Kai? So Tragura made substitutions. Matisse replaced Wu Zedong and moved to the left wing. Hao Junmin, a right winger, moved to Wu Zedong's position. The purpose of these substitutions was that Hao Junmin and Wu Zedong are players with different playing styles, which could bring new challenges to the defenders. Similarly, the center-forward Pike, who replaced Yu Shihao, is also a player with a different style. Such substitutions often have a therapeutic effect. In the 2022 World Cup, almost every substitution resulted in either conceding or scoring a goal, demonstrating the effect of substitutions in a simple and direct way. This is similar to changing a head coach. Some teams have problems, shrouded in bad habits or negative emotions, and at this point, no matter how they play, it's wrong. But with the same lineup, a new head coach, without even needing to change tactics, can revitalize the team. In essence, the goal is to refresh the atmosphere. New head coach, new spirit. But if the fundamental problems are not addressed, then after the initial freshness, the old problems will return. Therefore, when encountering a stalemate in a match, you should try substitutions to give the team a breather. However, in running a club, you can't rely on frequently changing head coaches, you have to address the root causes. Lazy players need their laziness corrected. Players with poor judgment need to be taught to think. Players who shoot too much need to reduce their shots. Players who don't pass need to be made to pass. Players who don't meet expectations should be sold early, otherwise, keeping them will only further depreciate their value. Don't think youth is a treasure, youth has unlimited potential. Players below the prodigy level will never become top stars. Players below the gifted level may not show much improvement even after 3 or 4 years as professional players, let alone become stars. Young players who can't perform shouldn't stay at one club indefinitely. If you can't perform here, it means the environment isn't right for you, leave early. A tree dies if transplanted, but a person thrives. Very few players have a smooth career. In the 80th minute, Sporting Lisbon's substitutions paid off, resulting in a goal conceded. Hao Junmin, who had just come on, lacked Wu Zedong's coverage area and created a gap when exchanging defensive zones with Duarte, which the opponent exploited. In the 85th minute, Hao Junmin also showcased his strengths, using his individual skills to dribble past a defender before delivering a cross. This was a completely different way of breaking down defenses compared to Wu Zedong, and he was indeed no easier to deal with. Moreover, Hao Junmin's cross was clearly several times higher in quality than Wu Zedong's. Wu Zedong, how is it obvious? The center forward, Picchio, leaped high and headed the ball into the goal. He completed a powerful header that Yu Shihao would probably never be able to achieve in his lifetime. Yu Shihao, what, you look down on us small players, huh? Kai, come quick. This isn't over yet. In the 90th minute, Hao Junmin repeated his trick, delivering another cross. Picchio went down directly in the penalty area. The opponent raised his elbow and hit him in the face while positioning himself. The referee awarded a yellow card and a penalty. Deng Kai stood in front of the penalty spot, took a shot, the opponent misjudged the direction, and the penalty went in. 6-1. Sporting Lisbon returned with a resounding victory, taking away 3 glorious points. It's important to understand that San Romano is practically one of the strongest teams in the region. Suddenly, no one dared to underestimate Sporting Lisbon U17. Even the newspaper board had to admit, after the growing pains of losing Ronaldo, Sporting Lisbon U17 has adapted in nearly a month. Coach Trigura truly deserves to be a manager of a top club. His tactics are perfectly suited to the current players, fully utilizing their strengths. Bora showered Trigura with praise, not even mentioning Duncan's name once. However, Trigura stated in a media interview, I didn't actually make many changes to the team. The changes everyone saw were mainly done by Deng Kai. I admire this about Deng Kai. I believe a great midfield maestro should have his own insights into the team's playing style, player selection, and the development and integration of individual characteristics. A top midfield maestro will definitely be a good head coach. Deng Kai has proven that. Facing his mentor's praise, Deng Kai humbly stated, a midfield maestro will inevitably be a good head coach, like Zidane and Guardiola. If they had pursued a coaching career, they would have become among the best in less than 10 years. But I'm still far from that level, because I'm not a truly excellent midfielder yet. I still have many areas to improve. The team's success is the result of everyone's joint efforts. Yu Shihao's dribbling breakthroughs after dropping back created scoring opportunities. Wu Zedong swept across the right flank in both attack and defense. Hao Junmin helped me organize the midfield and also launched deadly passes. Parker's irreplaceable role as the center forward, Veloso and Tavares' defensive role in midfield, Xiao Jiaoyi and Angelo acted as anchors in the backfield. Deng Kai praised every single player on the team, completely ignoring the reporter's impatient expression. Even after Deng Kai left, the reporter remembered that he had intended to ask about Hathaway after Deng Kai finished speaking. Damn it. October 26th. Sporting Lisbon played away against Belenenses. Deng Kai scored twice, Wu Zedong provided an assist, and Yu Shihao scored the winning goal. The team narrowly won 3-2. November 3rd. The team played at home against Desporta. Deng Kai scored 1 goal and provided 2 assists, and Yu Shihao achieved his first brace in his Sporting Lisbon career. Xiao Jiaoyi scored another header, and Hao Junmin provided his second assist. 4-2, the team continued their winning streak. November 9th. Sporting Lisbon played their second consecutive home game against Braga, another strong team. Cristiano Ronaldo suffered a heart attack in a match against Braga early in the season. Without Ronaldo, Braga, as a strong team, was expected to win this game. However, Deng Kai contributed 2 goals and 2 assists, involved in all the goals. Wu Zedong and Veloso scored, and Yu Shihao provided an assist. The team defeated Braga 4-2, giving them little room for resistance. After 3 consecutive losses, Sporting Lisbon embarked on a winning streak, forcefully climbing back to second place in the standings. Their advancement to the North-South Division this season is virtually guaranteed. After the match against Braga, Deng Kai went straight to the airport, and will miss team training for the next few days. He asked Trigura for leave, which he readily approved. Even if Deng Kai were to play in the U19 team, let alone the U17 team, Trigura would feel it was beneath him. At 1.65 meters tall, Deng Kai's already qualified to enter the professional arena and compete with adult players in their 20s and 30s. So where has Deng Kai been all this time? Chapter 174 Hathaway, did you reject Deng Kai? American journalists have provided the answers. Princess Geneviese's birthday party, Portuguese President Caesar presents gift. Hathaway shows off bracelet given by Deng Kai, suspected relationship confirmed. At her birthday party, Hathaway invites Deng Kai to dance the first dance. The golden couple has perfect chemistry. Deng Kai has grown taller, but not completely. He wore height increasing insoles on the day of the party. Makeup artist, a partner gave Hathaway an expensive pair of high heels, but she didn't wear them because she didn't want to be taller than Deng Kai when dancing. The Princess Diaries box office surpasses 100 million. Hathaway's popularity remains high, earning millions in endorsement fees. MIT economics expert, the mismatched relationship between North American campus goddess Hathaway and ordinary athlete Deng Kai. They won't be blessed, nor can it last. Harvard sociology expert, Hathaway and Deng Kai's status is mismatched. To be worthy of Hathaway, Deng Kai needs to become the second Beckham. Victoria Caroline, Kai is excellent, but there is only one Beckham. Beckham, yes, but there's only one K. Social status doesn't affect true love. Hathaway, K is a good boy, I support you two being together. Deng Kai, boy my ass. It has to be said that Hathaway's birthday caused a stir across America. This is largely due to the phenomenal box office success of The Princess Diaries. Even several production companies that Hathaway had previously refused to work with are now willing to work with her again, putting aside past grievances. But this time, Hathaway made an even more outrageous demand. She actually stated that she wouldn't do kissing scenes. This is a new insight Hathaway gained after studying traditional Chinese culture for almost half a year. The producers naturally couldn't agree. You're making an American chick flick. How can a youth-themed film be without kissing? Even for the final atmosphere, there has to be a kissing scene. But Hathaway said that camera tricks, special effects, and body doubles are acceptable. The producers were furious. He threw down the line, "Do you think you're an Oscar-winning actress? Forget about being an Oscar winner, we might even accept your opinion if you got an Oscar nomination, but you're not. You're not at that level. You have to follow the rules. You're lucky, Hathaway, but your stubbornness will prevent you from having a brilliant film career. No audience can accept an actress who doesn't film kissing scenes. Don't even mention kissing scenes, even established actresses sometimes have to accept roles with explicit content. You'll pay the price for your purity and pride." Hathaway didn't care about this threat, it was the second wave of threats she'd heard. Coming from a middle-class family, she had no obsession with fame or fortune. She could live well even without fame. Now that she was famous, she had even less reason to demean herself. She wanted to fight for love. Despite the nationwide condemnation of Deng Kai, he hadn't actually agreed to be with Hathaway. Yes, Hathaway had confessed her feelings to Deng Kai on her birthday. But Deng Kai said he needed more time to sort out their relationship and plan for the future. He would only give Hathaway a responsible answer when he felt everything was okay. Until then, they weren't considered a couple. But they could try to have deeper conversations. For example, I don't mean those kinds of conversations, but rather conversations about their ideals, life expectations, and career plans. It could be said that this birthday party was Hathaway's happiest birthday party ever, because her relationship with Deng Kai had taken a big step forward. Therefore, in a later interview, Hathaway generously stated, "Thank you everyone for your attention to my relationship with Deng Kai, and thank you to my fans who support me. But my relationship with Deng Kai isn't what everyone imagines. We are not in a romantic relationship, we are still in contact as friends." When Hathaway said this, many reporters were already excited. They broke up? Did Deng Kai fail to win Hathaway's heart? Or did Hathaway feel inferior to Deng Kai after becoming famous? Or did Deng Kai feel ashamed of himself? Excuse me, did you reject Deng Kai's confession? The American reporter gave Hathaway plenty of face. What does rejection mean? It means they were never together. A breakup leaves an emotional stain. How could Hathaway not be perfect? Faced with a question, Hathaway smiled and said, "No, it's just that he hasn't agreed yet." After Hathaway left, many reporters were still in a daze. He hasn't agreed yet? Agreed to what? Breakup? No, this sentence implies that they aren't even together yet. Combining Hathaway's previous words, so it means Hathaway is pursuing Deng Kai, but Deng Kai hasn't agreed? The two are still in contact as friends, which means Hathaway hasn't given up? She's going to pursue Deng Kai? The American media went crazy. It's like the sky's about to rain, And the goddess is getting married. What kind of situation is this? No, she can't get married. Hathaway is not even 17 years old. Deng Kai is only in his first or second year of high school in China. This is called puppy love. This is not allowed. For a time, the news was in an uproar. North American people all wanted to win Hathaway back. European people thought Deng Kai was awesome, actually getting the American's daughter to pursue him. Chinese fans thought, if you really want to talk about handsomeness, then we Chinese are not sleepy. The birthday party and the subsequent news seemed to have put Deng Kai in a state of high excitement. Even though Deng Kai repeatedly explained that his outstanding performance was related to his growth spurt and the adjustment period after his height increase, fans were still more willing to believe it was the power of love. From November 16 to December 21, the team won 6 consecutive matches, securing early qualification for the North-South Division. Deng Kai racked up a terrifying 13 goals and 5 assists, instantly topping both the goal-scoring and assist charts in the Portuguese U17 league. And at this point, there were only 2 matches left before the winter break. The U17 league is a rather special league. Depending on age and physical development, the gap in player ability and talent widens dramatically at this stage. Players whose ability and talent explode often don't even last half a season in this level of league before being called up to the next tier. If their talent continues to be outstanding and their ability continues to dominate, they continue to rise. As long as you have enough experience, you can jump straight to the reserve team. Of course, getting into the first team requires some special luck. It's not just about having ability and talent. Therefore, the most valuable part of Ronaldo's 5 promotions in 1 year was his move into the first team. Similarly, players who stay in the U17 league for a full year are either very young and were promoted there without having overwhelming ability, or they have mediocre talent and find it difficult to obtain a truly professional contract from a Portuguese league team. Chapter 175 Another year of the Golden Globe. Therefore, with his current 23 goals and 16 assists, Deng Kai, with a bit of luck, could already become a Golden Boot winner and assist leader in some years. People can't help but sigh. Everyone thought Deng Kai had latched onto Ronaldo's coattails, but it turns out Ronaldo was the one who prevented Deng Kai from winning both the top scorer and assist titles. Some fans even joked that Deng Kai was generous, actually sharing a league Golden Boot with Ronaldo. Deng Kai usually doesn't read these kinds of news articles. However, while tidying Ronaldo's room, he inadvertently found these cut-out newspaper articles in Ronaldo's diary. Ronaldo circled the names of the reporters and media outlets that published these articles. There's no doubt he'll remember them. He definitely won't give them interviews in the future. Especially Piers Morgan, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Mirror. That guy is talking complete nonsense. Me, Cristiano Ronaldo, what Golden Boot can't I win? Do I need to steal from Deng Kai? Deng Kai felt there was nothing wrong with Ronaldo's behavior. These records were actually his motivation. He was a player born to prove others wrong, but what the hell was that about poking holes all over his face in the championship group photo? He was getting anxious. On December 23, the annual Ballon d'Or ceremony was held. Deng Kai was invited. He was invited by Beckham, a favorite to win the Ballon d'Or this year. Beckham invited several players from his team who had time. Ferguson was also present. Although Deng Kai was a little surprised when he received the invitation, he accepted without hesitation. Afterwards, Deng Kai notified his parents to prepare another warehouse. He needed to stock up on football. The Ballon d'Or. The world's top 30 players and legends were all gathered together. Signing 3 footballs for each person wasn't unreasonable, right? For this, Deng Kai specifically contacted a football store in Paris through Zidane to ensure a sufficient supply. Zidane was also surprised that Deng Kai would call him. However, adults generally don't refuse children's requests, especially such an interesting little kid. Hey, Zidane, don't be sad. Although you didn't win the Ballon d'Or this year, you'll definitely be the FIFA World Player of the Year next year. Honestly, when Deng Kai said that, even if he asked Zidane to help him join Juventus Youth Academy, Zidane would have agreed. Who doesn't like a sweet-talking kid? So, on the night of the Ballon d'Or, Deng Kai once again managed to sneak into the awards ceremony. Once there, he immediately understood why Beckham had invited him. Because Victoria had invited Hathaway and even prepared a presentable suit for Deng Kai. This Victoria certainly had a knack for shrewdness. She knew how to ride the wave of popularity. Hathaway was incredibly popular in North America these past few days, The Princess Diaries had broken various records at the box office, soaring to $180 million. Considering there was still some time before it left theaters, the film's final North American box office could very well reach $200 million. And that would definitely put it in the top 5 of this year's North American box office rankings. Such a lightweight film achieved such high box office numbers and sparked phenomenal discussion and acclaim across the United States. How could Victoria, dedicated to developing the American market, miss out? So, Deng Kai and Beckham walked the red carpet together, him holding Hathaway's hand, Beckham holding Victoria's. This immediately became the focus of attention. After entering the venue, Deng Kai greeted many football stars, becoming familiar with them. However, this awards ceremony was destined not to be the way Victoria hoped. Because Beckham ultimately only finished second in the Ballon d'Or. Following him were Shevchenko, the Ukrainian nuclear warhead, Batistuta, the king of Fiorentina, Figo, the Portuguese superstar, Keane, Beckham's teammate and Manchester United midfielder, Vieri, the world's best striker, Varane, the White Wizard, Raul, Real Madrid's ring king, Matos, the German Iron Warrior. And this year's Ballon d'Or winner was Rivaldo, the red and blue bastion, the core of both Brazil and Barcelona. Rivaldo was able to surpass Beckham because Barcelona won La Liga for 3 consecutive years, and Rivaldo scored 24 goals last season, becoming the La Liga Golden Boot winner. In the Copa America final, he was in top form, scoring 2 goals and providing an assist, helping Brazil defeat Uruguay 3-0 to win the Copa America title. At the national team level, his performance even overshadowed Ronaldo. Although Beckham and Manchester United's unprecedented treble is equally impressive, and even in the eyes of fans in years when the Copa America's prestige is declining, Beckham's achievement is arguably more significant. Rivaldo's impact on the team is still greater than Beckham's. Sometimes, even if you become the core player on the field, if no one explicitly declares you the core player, you are still not. And Manchester United's absolute core player was indeed not Beckham. Therefore, Beckham missed out on the Ballon d'Or. Beckham's face was filled with disappointment. Victoria, on the other hand, seemed unable to control her emotions and was on the verge of exploding. As fate would have it, after Rivaldo's acceptance speech, the Golden Globe host approached Deng Kai to ask for his thoughts on this year's awards. After all, his impromptu remarks at last year's Golden Globe were highly praised, and such an excellent segment should naturally be retained. Everyone was hoping to hear some juicy gossip from Deng Kai. After standing up, Deng Kai said, "The cruelty of the awards lies in choosing one from several qualified candidates. This works in some years, but in others it leaves people feeling disappointed. Rivaldo certainly deserves the Ballon d'Or, there's no dispute about it. He achieved numerous honors in the past year that are worthy of this trophy. But Rivaldo, you must allow me to say this, Beckham's achievements and efforts in the past year also deserve this Ballon d'Or. So, in my heart, if Beckham were this year's Ballon d'Or winner, I would have no problem with it. But if Rivaldo were to become this year's Ballon d'Or winner, I also think the award is fair and just." Finally, I must offer some personal opinions. Starting next year, I hope that when watching football, people won't just look at Beckham's face, but also pay more attention to his technique, passing, defense, running. I believe he still has a chance to compete for this award in the future. A round of applause erupted from the players in the audience. It must be said that Deng Kai's words demonstrated exceptional emotional intelligence. If it were Ronaldo or Zidane, they might not have been satisfied with Deng Kai's comments when they won the Ballon d'Or. But Rivaldo was. Hold on to your monthly votes until the end of the month. There's a double vote event at the end of the month. 1 vote equals 2 votes, which is very important to me. The French team is acting erratically. Losing isn't important. What's important is that Deschamps fielded an entirely reserve lineup and used an unconventional formation, directly wasting valuable time for team cohesion in the third match. In this game, Deschamps should have continued with the starting lineup and main formation, rotating 5 or 6 substitutes, and then substituting substitutes for substitutes during the game, playing steadily while seeing who could develop chemistry with the starting lineup. Because even if some players perform well in an unconventional, all-reserve lineup, they might not be able to adapt to the real French team play. Moreover, the French team brought on several key players at the end, so they didn't really prevent injuries and fatigue. Deschamps' move left the French team without any reliable substitutes. Any injury from now on will result in elimination, greatly reducing their chances of winning the championship. It wasn't their loss to Tunisia that lowered their chances of winning, but rather their failure to capitalize on their third group stage match. We'll see how things unfold. You've all witnessed Tao's abilities these past few days. I'm running out of words, so I'll keep it simple today. Spain beat Japan, Germany beat Costa Rica, Spain and Germany advance, Croatia draws with Belgium, Morocco beats Canada, Croatia and Morocco advance. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.